Goodbye everyone and welcome to the glorious Smite League. I am Printers, joined tonight on the casting desk by Ginger Archer with Vile Blood Mitch on the production desk. Psych. I'm doing this again. We are here for the game between Diff and WODL, having won their first round match last night against the off-meta Smiters, having forfeited the second match of the set. They are now going straight in, carrying on that momentum and taking it into the highly rated Diff in what is bound to be a very interesting match, with WODL having their full roster back tonight.
Yeah, I feel like tonight is going to be a lot more intense. I feel like this can definitely go into 3 games because both of these teams have improved a lot over the season. Diff always came out swinging and they've never really stopped swinging, and WODL now with their full roster is going to show their true potential, and I think with these two clashing, I think we're going to have a good night.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the new mid of Diff does. I've personally yet to see him have any performance. I'm not sure if he has had one yet, but yet to have one that I've seen for them in this league after the banning of the previous mid laner for many controversies. But it's all Goodman. On the other side though, Snowy returning for WODL, who we know has strong performances, but the insta lock in here, Hades making it through the first sets of bans and being locked in by Diff. Now that is a very, very strong first pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a safe solo pick. It does so much for the team fights, a lot of sustain, a lot of damage, and Pillar of Agony is just an insane ultimate. It's just a very safe first pick, and there's not really much WODL can really pick into it to counter it, but WODL now, there's still stuff open for them to respond with, such as Amelia's Umoja, the Lancelot, and there it is.
Fury.
Yeah, the Umoja getting locked in straight away, and we saw last night the value that Amelia can pull out on that god. Very, very strong performance. Lance's, as you said, open and was held very well by Machiavelli, but instead they're favouring the Cerninos, who at the moment is a very strong pick. Actually has the potential to lock down the Hades relatively well, has that field where he can get the cripple and the root, stop the Hades from dashing and manoeuvring itself, and aside from the ult, actually becomes quite the sitting duck at that stage. Doesn't have the hugest amount of range, Hades, so a nice solid way to lock it down, as well as the Umoja ult once he's used the dash. Smart picks so far, very safe picks, very consistent picks.
Khepri
on the other side, we see the Khepri.
I'd also like to point out with the Cerninos as well is that could be mid or ADC, so WODL still have a lot of flex potential in what they want to do in that, and with Diff now with a Khepri, possibly a Cupid, they have a very good AoE team fight currently, and a lot of safety.
They do indeed, although I'm uncertain about this Cupid pick here in the Umoja, and Cerninos obviously has the ability to lock down the Cerninos dash, but also very easily trapped by the Cerninos and the Umoja here. I think this is quite a risky pick to have picked this early, especially something that doesn't have the lane pressure. You're not likely to have it anyway against the Umoja, but with a Khepri there is always the chance, and I really feel like you've sort of taken away the laning phase here, and the Gilgamesh coming alongside that recently buffed warrior. This could go solo war jungle and will do a good job there.
I feel like this is probably going to go into the jungle because it provides a lot of pressure, because no matter how much damage he's dealing, his CC is just really paramount for team fights, and then his laning phase isn't the best. And it's also worth knowing with WODL is that they're lacking that CC immunity, so right now Diff can go into quite a few things to counter that right now. If I think off the top of my head, just any CC heavy ults can really hurt them right now.
Yeah, definitely can. I mean, yeah, anything that's locked down, had they not already picked the Umoja, I would have said a Ganesh would have been brilliant for WODL right now to pick themselves. But yeah, on the other side, Diff, you're looking at something with big AoE. I wouldn't even be surprised to see the Bellona coming in the jungle or solo lane here if the Hades goes mid. Does well both against the Cerninos stopping the autos and the Gilgamesh stopping the empowered autos. We'll find a lot of value here. Personally, I think that would be a good pick. The Darji also still open, not being banned. Instead, WODL opting for the Wheelish and the Najar, which surprising picks. But seeing as they wanted the Scylla, maybe less so.
Yeah,
so with the recent buffs as well, stronger, a lot stronger than she was previously.
Yeah, very annoying buff. Her 20% extra damage to minions now pretty much makes her laning phase really safe, and with the amount of damage she outputs towards the late game as well, she's just... And with the CC, with the setup with the Gilgamesh ult, the Umoja, entire kit, Cerninos, cripple and all, there's so much setup for her, which is just going to do so much damage to Diff. Even the Hades isn't safe, because once he's in Pillar of Agony, he's not going to move. You're like, yeah, he's going to tank most of it, but a level 20 crush along with a I'm a Monster is gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that's got the potential with the right builds to completely one-shot a backline carry. Even with a Kepri there, you can't respond to them just getting immediately blown up. It doesn't happen, and I really feel like this is a strong pick here for WODL, provided it can stay safe. However, the on her getting locked. Now, my only question here is, which one of these hunters is mid?
I feel like it'd be
Cupid or on her. I also feel like it could be Cupid. I feel like the Cupid is a very strong pick into the Scylla.
I mean, it could
potential, like, obviously, even with the buffed clear, it's a hunter in the mid lane. You're going to do well clearing against the mage, and Big Man Jesus pulling out the Raven for the jungle. Diff with a very, very, very aggressive composition here. They are going to be in WODL's face, and I feel like Amelia's ultimates here could find so much value in slowing down these team fights.
Yeah, it's also worth knowing as well the Ravana with the CC Mutinus 2, his ult, and of course he's probably going to get beads. He has a lot of opportunities to slither past all of WODL's CC, and he can lock down the Cernanos, the Scylla, maybe even the Gilgamesh if he really wants to, because this screams aggressiveness, like you said, and that really suits BMJ's playstyle.
Yeah, absolutely. Having played with him before, I think we both know the chances of finding himself out of position in this set are quite high. And so pairing that with the ultimates that are able to isolate, such as the Mojo ultimate, or the CC coming in from the backline carries on the Cernanos, yes, you're a Raven, but you can only immune that brief, fleeting moment of abilities. That's not going to be enough to keep yourself alive.
No, it definitely will keep you immortal, but missing those key, like, for example, dodging a Cernanos ult is going to be huge.
It will indeed, until you get followed up with by a well-timed Sikkim. Now that assumes that WODL's coordination is on point here, but with Snowy in the mid lane, I very much imagine it can be.
Yeah, we're just waiting for this 10th pick now, which is going to reveal whether this Gilgamesh is going to have a solo or jungle. I think it's going to go jungle. It's just, I can imagine WODL considering they take chances right now. They want to see what they can pick, and they go the
Amaterasu. Surprised they haven't even picked a Bologna. I really don't get why Bologna's not getting play at the moment. But I just feel like she's a decent pick right now.
Yeah, she's alright, but Amaterasu has the better late game, in my opinion.
She does, but against double hunters, I suppose, I get that the Bologna's clear can be more interrupted by the Hades, but you don't need to worry about the hammer smash. As long as you get the hammer form out, you can still clear perfectly fine.
I mean,
I'm just wondering if this is too safe.
Well, last night WODL did demonstrate they can use the Amaterasu pretty well, along with the Emoja, so I have no doubt, as well with Machiavelli with this Gilgamesh, he's definitely going to try and get this map pressure like he did with the Lancelot, so this is definitely a WODL comp. There's a lot of CC, there's a lot of setup, a lot of damage. Diff, also a lot of CC, a lot of sustain as well, and I think both of these comps are fairly equal to one another right now.
Yeah, I think both of these teams could take this to the other. It's all going to be a case of how well WODL deal with the aggression from Diff, which is something, as we said, they can definitely dictate on. And I think they will do it with these picks. Big Man Jesus is going to be looking for early picks on the Raven. He's going to be looking for roots and kills. I wouldn't be surprised to see him getting some invades. But on the other side, this Gilgamesh with a mannequins can fight into that in the early game. The Raven isn't too likely to win the 1v1. The sustain isn't quite enough, and even with the passive, Gilga is going to shred through that. It's going to be based on how much the mid laners can follow up. If it's Cupid, Gilgamesh is a sitting duck, he can't really avoid that stun. Scylla can at least find some range a bit safer, has more self-peeling CC. With the slow and the root, Gilgamesh does have the root and the kick, but if he uses the kick, he's then mispositioning himself more forwards and is susceptible to the other one, so there's a lot of options here. I almost would like to see an aggression coming out into the solo lane from these two teams. Either of these solo laners gets ahead, and that is going to be a bully matchup that is going to be very difficult to recover from.
Yeah, I mean, Amaterasu's early game is notoriously a bit on the weaker side, and obviously Hades is notoriously on the stronger side, so I think Amaterasu is going to have to hold back a little bit, and if you give up too much, Hades is definitely going to run away with the potential lead. With the map pressure, you can invade your camps, you can start proxy farming and start rotating early. It's just holding down this Hades, I think, is definitely key for this match.
It absolutely is. Now, looking at the bracket a second, obviously Hakai beat VHS. They're going on to round 3 matches, likely to be against Kuman and Zoomin. They've looked very strong all season so far. Fountain Gang struggling, especially in recent times, to find much form. But out of these two teams, you look at the other teams that they could face, and it's going to be VTubers or King Kais. Who do you think they're going to be wanting to be facing more likely at the moment, looking at how those two teams have been playing recently?
Honestly, I think it's just a pick your poison thing. I think both teams have been performing extremely well. I think VTubers have probably been performing some of the best in the season. They've very rarely dropped the ball, and they've given the teams a lot of L's. I think they definitely have the stronger sense, and then King Kai's a few roster switch ups, but I don't think King Kai's will weaken any stretch of the imagination. They're very strong individual players, so I think, and honestly, any of the two are definitely going to be a struggle for either one of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I think having watched King Kai's the other day, I would much rather be facing them over VTubers, just because they seem to show that little bit of arrogance against the Armadillos, and there is the chance that that could creep in the misplays that were made. But for now, there's no point dwelling on the future when we can see the game joining now, and that is exactly what we are going to do, getting into this one, and it is the on her in the mid lane into the Scylla for Ping Diff. It's me, Benny, piloting the on her for the early game. I understand it for the aggression. I feel like the Cupid struggles a lot more into the Cernanos personally, but we shall see how these matchups go.
My issue with the on her, mid, I think, first of all, I think if they're going to play aggression in the 3-3 matchup, I think on her is definitely a good choice. Reduces protections, a lot of slows, a lot of CC, good damage. My issue is that if the Scylla manages to stay even or just get ahead, on her's going to struggle a lot.
Yeah, she definitely will. Honor will have that potential to just dive on in, and you know, if you find where the Scylla's gonna send out a dash to, you can just put the pillar there. You really stop her from getting out. Early game, bit of aggression coming through from Ping Diff, but Nacho taking a lot of damage in response without those heals available yet from Spark Fearer. That's gonna be relying on potions and his natural sustain to get it back up in the mid lane. Exactly as we said, big man Jesus looking for that early aggression. We can see the blink has been expended. Snowy not even bothering to use the beads, understanding that he is going to die in first blood, falling to It's Me Benny, picking up that kill on the on her, and that's the last thing that this Scylla needs.
Yeah, it's definitely going to put her behind it. It's going to make her laning phase a lot longer, especially with Scylla. You want to get her to late game as soon as possible, but just because she's behind doesn't mean she's a ticking time bomb. It's just that the seconds are going to take a bit longer now because level 20 regardless, Scylla's going to do a lot of damage. So it's just trying to keep her behind as much as possible and try and utilize that map pressure because of it.
Absolutely. Just looking at some of the builds here, and I like the Tainted Steel on the side of Miranda's here and the solo on the Hades. I think that's a very good pickup against the team that they're going to be facing. I'm wondering if it almost would have warranted picking one up on the other side, as we see the aggression into the duo laner here. Okay. Ace Cake taking a lot of damage. Nacho getting the abduct, and big man Jesus, another successful gank from him over to the duo lane, and Ace K, the ADC, falling. Both 8 hunters for Ping Diff finding themselves ahead now with these kills and this lane pressure. And for WODL, this is going to be a bit of a struggle. However, we do see the attempted invade from Machiavelli, but really nice use of the silence by Mirandas, meaning that he is going to be able to secure his own blue buff. Invade not coming through, and with that, Machiavelli really losing a lot of early gold to Big Man Jesus here. Not necessarily through farm, but just through this kill participation, where Machiavelli's not really taken too much extra of his own farm, meaning that now he's going to be a little bit behind on gold, which we are seeing. 400 gold deficit where Big Man Jesus does have that kill and the assist on the first blood. Small amounts right now, but you see this continuing, especially as it can do now. Snowy again getting engaged on, taking a nice 20% of his health from the Raven's hands, and the invade on duo lane as well. Ping Diff have complete control right now.
Yeah, BMJ has basically solidified really early map pressure, which he's known for doing this. He's known for being aggressive. He wants to make the plays, and it's one of the reasons why he's considered one of the best junglers in lower division. He knows what he's doing in that regards, and it gives Ping Diff a lot of leeway in what they can do. They can make routes to slip-ups, but considering how Ping Diff play, they're very macro-heavy, and as we've seen, they're going to try and push that as far as they can, and it looks like BMJ is looking for more pressure in duo, but he's just in their jungle right now, taking everything he can.
Yeah, and the best way about this for him is that he's not even losing any of his own farm. Look, the back camps are only just spawning. He's not really that off on his timers, so he's just being efficient right now. He's getting good ganks off. He's getting good farm off. As in mid lane, the ultimate does come through from the Scylla, but it's me, Benny, managing to get the dash off. Meanwhile, Big Man Jesus is still in duo, and that's another kill down onto Ace K. Big Man Jesus once again picking that up. That's 2 kills in favor of him over this Hunter right now. And this is brutal. He is not letting up one bit.
No, he definitely won't. Oh, well, sorry, Miranda's might be down.
Miranda's taking a lot of damage, does get stunned, but Firefist maybe not quite recognizing that, choosing not to follow up on it. Maybe just didn't have the damage if the abilities weren't available. But good ultimate and a good show of pressure in this solo lane, and WODL need that. They need a win somewhere.
Yeah, and now Sarasi, if she gets ahead, she's extremely... Oh, solo kill.
Speaking of, Miranda's choosing to overstay, getting silenced out by the glimmering Amaterasu and getting that kill. BMJ is there, using the ultimate, does connect. The blue buff is secured by Firefist, but Firefist might end up losing his life for it, and does indeed. Mr. Nacho picking up that kill with the abduct. Does get the kill, doesn't, in fact, might have got this successful evade. I can't tell from the map, it never shows right.
No,
the buff was grayed out.
It wasn't successful.
It was.
That is really unfortunate because you get the solo kill, or was it? So it's just a struggle as well because the solo kill is definitely nice, it gives the pressure, but BMG just responds and just takes you down. It makes it extremely difficult. Like, BMG is all across the map.
He is everywhere right now. He's really exerting this pressure and not giving anything to WODL. There's just nothing for them to find in this game right now. It's being completely nullified by anything BMJ does. He's everywhere. This entirely, they've just got this thing in solo. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because he's there to, retaliate on it immediately.
Yeah, and plus with this Cupid ahead now, with the extra XP and the extra gold in his pocket, he doesn't really have to worry about Cernas too much. He can definitely apply the pressure, and then even if he plays a bit unsafe, he has the Kepri by his side just to give him the revive. So Diff have the situation now where they can play aggressive, they can try and push and make really greedy plays, and because of this Kepri, they have a lot of safety to do it with.
Yeah, they really do. The Cupid, as you say, is a lot safer now, can sort of just sit in this lane fairly comfortably. If he gets engaged on dash away, pop the hearts, heal up. The duo lane now, I don't envision we'll see too many kills on unless it's Spark aggressing. I don't think Ace K really has much capacity to anymore, just because of how the Cupid's going to be able to escape from most of the plays that he's able to make now. And as we said, any poke that comes through, drop the hearts, heal up again. That's exactly what we've seen. Alongside a Scorpion invade.
Yeah, and hopefully as well, hopefully WODL managed to kind of calm down this pressure a bit, because what is also scary is that a Cupid and a Cernos just screams early objectives.
Yeah, I mean, double hunter for Ping Diff. They get a single pick. They're going to be looking at anything that they're on the side of the map for. What I do see on this side of the map, though, is Machiavelli making the rotation. Sparkfire gets the dash interrupted by the Cernos. The beads do come out as well as the Fields of Love, but Ace K picks up the return kill onto Sparkfire. Great gank by Machiavelli. Good engage by Ace K as well. Spark just stepping up that little bit much without the vision required to stay alive. And because of that, WODL are now on the board.
Might be in danger.
Firefist might be in danger there. They're recognizing that the invade has happened, and now Ping Diff just going to the other side of the map. There's the route from Big Man Jesus. The Pillar of Agony coming out. Big Man Jesus 3 for 0. And had Pyromancer be spawned, they would be on that right now. Instead, losing every single buff that is on the map. Machiavelli invading. Have they left minions? No, they haven't left minions alive. No. It's just where the buff hasn't despawned yet.
No, so now that Ping Diff have a little bit of kills on the map, they get a little bit gold in their pockets and gives the Cern, relieves a bit of pressure, equalizes it about a bit. Obviously now he's a level ahead. This manages to give WODL a bit of that map pressure back, and the thing is though, Ping Diff are responding really well. Obviously with Spark Fury going down, then they just take down Firefist. Ping Diff are answering to nearly every one of WODL's answers right now.
Yeah. It's almost like they're not even one step ahead, but they're 2 steps ahead. They're making the plays, and then as soon as WODL try and counter it, Ping Diff are already on the next counter. They're ahead of the game right now. They're really dictating the tempo. Machiavelli, he's trying to make things work. Has done somewhat okay so far, and is here to counteract this solo gank, but Big Man Jesus is now just going to run at him, uses the ultimate forward. There's the blink coming out from Machiavelli to escape it. But now Fire Fist, having used the dash, is in a little bit of danger. Here comes the Pillar of Agony, taking a lot of damage, and with the rest of Ping Diff here as well, the ult does get dropped by Machiavelli, but nothing more doing from that. And even if Big Man Jesus in danger, Machiavelli, Mr. Nacho pops the ultimate onto him. Big Man Jesus does have to use the blink to get out. Snowy's still chasing, but a really nice route from Big Man Jesus means he's going to escape with his life. It's Me Benny just getting the fortunate glitch through the Emoja ult, but with the stun there, Machiavelli is going to pick up that kill, or another 1-for-1. But I don't think Ping Diff are going to mind this too much, just shutting down where that lead was, and now Mirandas has it himself.
Yeah, I just want to point out as well, Snow hitting the ult, that was a lot of damage already. Like, Scylla's already doing damage.
Yeah, I mean, that was without the ult. The Crush just did, you know, a third of the health of the Raven. And a mage this early without the stack Book of Thoth. Methinks that's dangerous. Is indeed. Smart macro here from those Snowy and Amelia, looking to pick up the oracles here right as we saw Ace K hovering over her back, potentially actually getting that off as well once he's used his escape here. But Snowy having to pop the beads to escape from the adduct into the fields of love there. Sparks just going to return to the duel and get his farm up. He's going to get that wave. Purple buff not being invaded this time, and Ping Diff are ahead on the camps again. Right now they're about 1,500 gold ahead as well.
Yeah, definitely. This game's definitely like not winnable for WODL. This is definitely not the biggest lead they can worry about. So I think what WODL need to do is now to try and focus up farm a bit and keep an eye on the objectives, because if Ping Diff start looking towards those, it can definitely burn them. So it's just watching those objectives, see if they can answer back. Say if Ping Diff go for gold, if they go for Pyromancer, or try and maybe contest. It's just a matter of not letting Ping Diff take more of a lead that they already currently have.
Yeah, I honestly think their best bet would even be contesting. You know, they've got this Scylla ultimate. That's going to do more than any secure that Ping Diff have. The problem is, are they going to be there in time? We can see Snowy has popped the ultimate to try and get there, but it's too late. Pyromancer goes down, the ultimate is expended, hitting nothing. And if I'm Ping Diff here, I'm thinking, well, this is my chance to now go pull Gold Fury. The Scylla does not have the ultimate. Where is the risk now in us pulling this? The only thing there to out-secure is the Crush. They still have the on-her ultimate. That's going to do a lot of burn damage. There's essentially a massive amount of burst with how quickly it can hit.
Yeah, and looks like a lot of no fight breaking out.
Yeah, we do indeed. Nacho and Big Man Jesus once again finding engagements in the WODL side of the jungle around their back camps, trying to secure the Scorpion and successfully do so. And all these little bits of gold, which are these sort of objectives that you really want as one team, don't spawn that often, but they certainly add up very, very quickly. We can see that Big Man Jesus, the amount of farm he's got here, and also the engage he's doing. Machiavelli and Amelia finding him in the enemy jungle, but Mirandas is here to support, and now Amelia, really out of position, does not have the Omi to go escape, and Mirandas picks up that kill. He's now on the board beyond an assist. That's 5 more stacks for his Warlock Sash. The Book of Thoth is fully stacked as well. Now Snowy gets abducted, has no beads, falls to It's Me Benny. Big Man Jesus with lowish mana. Mirandas heads back to solo lane, and the rest of Ping Diff look to be heading over to this duo side of the map where beads do come out from Ace K. The Heart Bomb's going to hit. Is it going to be enough? No. Nice. Ace K picks up the kill with the quick 180 flick, and Spark very unlucky not to get that kill. But that takes away a lot of momentum from Ping Diff. Could potentially stop them from going for gold here, just with how low BMJ's mana is. And It's Me Benny as well. They are still going to pull this, recognizing how low the Ace K is, but overall opting to negate it. Seeing that the support and jungler are back from WODL and Spark there. Had he got that kill, that's a Gold Fury. Honestly, could have got it without the kill. Burned the beads, you'd done enough.
Honestly, this is a very action-packed game. I just think as well with Amelia being engaged around the jungle, I think she let off her ultimate a bit too early, which definitely solidified the opinion to just finish her off. And especially with, unfortunately, Spark Fury being soloed in the duo lane, that kind of made it a bit difficult to go for the Gold Fury, because that's a bit like ADC damage, but it looks like every fight so far has been going into the side of Ping Diff, whether it be a neutral where WODL don't gain a win, or a fight where Ping Diff clearly get the win. They can get an objective, they can get more pressure, they can invade, because right now they're constantly and consistently in WODL's jungle, which allows them to pick these fights and makes it very difficult for WODL to respond to.
Yeah, WODL don't really seem to know how to respond right now. It's a bit scattered. Do we go in? Do we run away? This is the problem when you play these comps where you're better off counter-engaging, but it's how well you're able to counter-engage, where really sometimes dictating the play is just easier because you know your targets. What we do see is the Gold Fury getting pulled and destroyed by WODL. They're on this objective very quickly, and that's really going to slow down the losses that they were finding in these fights. Nacho, though, good ultimate onto himself alongside the Fields of Love from Sparkfear just to keep him alive there and slow down the engage means that nobody's going to fall. Big Man Jesus is going to get half hit by the Scylla ultimate already.
Fun damage, fun game. Yeah, now that's a very good win for WODL. That definitely puts extra gold in their pockets. And so far, SK is pushing up the lane a bit, and he's very equal to Spark Fear currently. It looks like he might get another kill.
Yeah, it could do indeed. Spark really struggling against the Sodanos, and it's, as I said, this matchup really does not favour the Cupid. Big Man Jesus is here, but the amount of healing that AceK has is ridiculous. The Aegis comes through, actually has the effect just on the final tick, and AceK kills Big Man Jesus with the dash. Sodanos having it max, meaning that he's going to live. Sparkfire now dashing in, misses the heart bomb. Sparkfire is still there, is able to clean up the kill. It's me, Benny was around the corner in case it was needed. But AceK showing just why Cernanos is so strong with that lifesteal on the one, the close range cleaves, absolutely decimating Big Man Jesus.
Yeah, AceK's not going down without a fight though.
No, it definitely was not, and actually did trade out 1-for-1 as we said. We are seeing a 4-man rotation onto Mirandus' blue buff here. It is going to fall successful invaders from WODL, but that's in counter to the fact that Diff had already invaded the blue buff from WODL. Mirandus was just on that, soloed it down for free because he could.
WODL are making good plays though. So far, some of their characters are coming online. So the damage is ridiculous right now. Gilgamesh is a bit more tanky, so it can jump in. Then Amaterasu is also coming online, so it allows them to now sitting into Diff jungle and hopefully try and invade them and take back the farm that Diff have been draining them off.
Yeah, and I think they will be happy with that. My main concern on the side of WODL is just how far behind Machiavelli is on gold right now. We saw just then 800 gold where all these Scorpions, these small back camps, these blue buffs are getting stripped away and he's not there for the invades. It's really starting to take his toll on the jungler who currently level 12 is in there with Amelia, but they don't really have much further follow-up. It's me, Benny has tried to get the support with the kill. Miranda's there for the follow-up, does claim it. Big Man Jesus almost falls to the ultimate coming through from Snowy, but in the end it's not going to find its target, and the Pyromancer is there. Without the ultimates, this could be out-secured by WODL, and Firefist is engaging on Big Man Jesus. Isn't going to find anything, though. Miranda's forcing the ultimate out from Mr. Nacho, because there is the engagement. Firefist, so finding a little bit out of position. It's me, Benny, full health, critting him down, taking away the healing, shredding through the Terasu's health bar. And now there's two left alive to defend for WODL, but they're both half health, and if they get spotted here by either Nacho or Benny, they could find themselves in a really dangerous spot here. Big Man Jesus choosing to ult in on Snowy. And honestly, for them right now, that's enough. Machiavelli, they use the dash. This crush does come through and pick off Big Man Jesus, but It's Me Benny does pick off Machiavelli in response. Nice Imperial onto Amelia, but nothing more doing there. I feel like as soon as they forced the dash out of Snowy, they should have recommitted onto the Pyromancer, taken the objective, because now Snowy hits the Sikkim, hits the crush, forces both the relics out from himself. It's me, Benny pops the Aegis, but now they're looking at the Pyromancer themselves. AceK has made the rotation over here, and this looks like a free Pyromancer. Crush is down, ready to secure. Mirandus nowhere near that one.
Nice.
Looks for the silence. And nice play from WODL, a bit of a misplay by Diff.
I want to point out as well with this Gilgamesh pick is like, yeah, he's a bit behind, you know, a couple levels, but get gold. But with this Gilgamesh pick, the fact he's going Bruiser as well is that he might not be doing the biggest damage, but he's definitely providing CC in team fights. Even though he's going to die last minute, that dropkick set up for Snowy's crush was just huge. It managed to pick off BMJ, which managed to get more pocket into Snowy's, and then he managed to get into the Pyromancer to take the objectives, and now WODL are gaining a lot of momentum with their characters.
Yeah, they're starting to hit the stage where they need to. This Scylla's got the Book of Thoth fully stacked. Warlocks is over halfway there. Polynomic on the line as well. If this hits a squishy character, they're dead. This Scylla right now has got enough in their kit to just be killing. Level 16, that Sickham's going to be doing AoE damage. Someone is going to die if they get hit by a full Scylla combo now.
She also has plenty of setup. Like with this Amaterasu ult, Gilgamesh kit, Emoja kit, like turning us cripple and ult, like there's so much for Snowy to like back off of with his crush or with his ult, and God forbid if he gets a crush reset with his ultimate.
Yeah, he's going to be just annihilating team fights. Now, the only thing is how well are they going to be able to protect this backline. Obviously, Amelia has the ability to reposition them with the Emoja, has the ability to cut enemies off with the ultimate, but if you get ran out by a Hades and then a Raven, you're going to be struggling to survive. And that's my only concern, is that it's very clear where the sort of win condition is. ACK's doing well, don't get me wrong, but it's Snowy that's chunking out the damage in these fights that matter.
Mhm.
And right now, that's going to be doing huge amounts in favor of WODL. But if that gets taken away, suddenly we see the momentum swing due to these double Hunter comps. Although, with the crit in mid lane, I don't know if that's the most efficient build when you're facing a 3-tank composition.
Yeah, the crit mid, I think it's alright. I mean, it gets the job done when it comes to killing the squishies, but looks like the setup for the Oni Fury, and if either team gets this, is going to be big for both teams.
Yeah, the momentum this is going to allow to then start going over and pulling Fire Giant is going to be big, but the problem for Pingdiff is they've already taken a lot of damage from pulling the Gold Fury. Big Man Jesus is getting engaged on by Machiavelli, but he now finds himself alone. Fire Fist is there with him, but it's not going to do much. Ace K in the other side finds Miranda, Sits Me Benny finds Machiavelli, and that's one down for each team so far, but WODL are much lower on the health. They do have the healing from the Emoja, but it doesn't matter if Big Man Jesus is able to blink
Great
in.
ult.
The ultimate comes through to completely disengage the fight from Amelia, and a huge ult from Snowy gets big damage onto Spark, but there's the ultimate coming in from Nacho. Almost would have been better to revive there, because Snowy then engaged with the dash, and it does mean Ace K is going to find himself killed onto Mr. Nacho and onto It's Me Benny. Sparkfire is still alive. Ace K one hit, but is not going to fall. Big Man Jesus out of mana. WODL so low, but not going to get punished for this. Spark needs to heal up and defend whatever he can here. WODL instead choosing the reset, and they're just going to head straight back to the Gold Fury. You'd think it's got to be the call here.
Oh, definitely. And I want to point out Amelia's ult there as well, because that gave her team the amount of breathing room they need to recuperate, and just throwing the Scylla wall like ultimate over, and then Ace K's damage man is ridiculous. And now this Scylla and Cernos are definitely online. It's something now that BMJ especially has to be careful of, because they're no longer going to be free dives. He's going to be taking damage.
Yeah, a lot of damage. He really needs to be careful of what he's able to do now, and making sure he knows his limits will help once he's got this sort of tankier health item online. I imagine we're going to see that that's going to work its way into a. Is that on the Sledge path, or is that on the Runeforge path?
That's Sludge.
That is Sledge. So Sledge will be coming through, which will make him tanky, but Miranda's throwing his life away is not helpful after the Oni Fury's already gone. Sparkfire now also finding himself out of position, is going to get chased through by Fire Fist, but the stun is not going to connect. Snowy though dashing forward, the Fields of Love come out, but Nacho without the ultimate means Sparkfire is a sitting duck. Nacho now also a sitting duck, falls to Machiavelli. Snowy popped the ultimate, but it doesn't matter. There's 2 remaining members alive of Pingdiff, and WODL have evened this game up completely on terms of kills and gold and XP, and they're going to Fire Giant.
And structures as well. Like, WODL have done it. They managed to relieve the pressure of Pingdiff, and now they've equalized the game, and now their picks are online, and as well with the sustain from the Emoja, they can take these poke fights as much as they please. This is going to be a very dangerous situation for Pingdiff now, because I think they can't question this Fire Giant. They're going to have to let it go. BMG might try and do something, but I think it's just going to lead to him losing his life, but we can definitely see if he's going to try something now.
Yeah, I think the better idea here is to just give it up. This Fire Giant is gone.
Yeah.
You need to stay alive now. They need to be alive to be able to defend Phoenixes. If they start getting picked off one by one, they lose their respawn timer synergy. Then Phoenixes suddenly become an easier siege, because you're never up at the same time and people are having to defend. You find people falling while others are respawning. You never get this clean fight that you need, and that's where a lot of the games can sort of get out of hand. Pingdiff just need to be alive now. They need to defend as 5. They need to get these priority targets down. I almost think Nacho needs to be using the ult on Miranda so we can get more into this backline, get 2 rotations of cooldowns off.
Yeah, because right now the Pingdiff composition very focused on dive-heavy initiations, like a lot of aggression, and now that they don't have access to that freely, because how WODL's very much a counter dive. Like, as soon as you're in there, you're going to be completely dead at that point. So now I think Pingdiff need to start setting up their defensives, try and get ready for WODL to come up for them, and they might have to let go of a few of the towers. And as long as they don't lose Phoenixes, I think Pingdiff is still in a okay situation to try and fight for the late game, try and go wait for the next Fire Giant. But as in terms of taking that aggression, I don't think it's really on the board for Pingdiff at this point.
Absolutely not. Now, the other problem they're going to find is that they are really going to be struggling to clear waves here. If these waves start going under Phoenix, they don't have this safe mage range from which you can just throw down ability, hit the archers, and get it out of there.
Mhm.
Everyone's going to have to step up to hit these archers. That means they're going to be taking damage, and that's going to be a real struggle for Pingdiff to deal with. And it allows WODL that range to just move forwards and potentially bait out an engagement, and then step back and heal up with their tanks. They've got the healing on the emoji. Amaterasu has the self-healing, and they can sustain in these fights.
Yeah, so the final of the tier 2, Waddle definitely, I think, are going to try and take this. And they're just doing the damage since they have FG, but see how it goes.
Yeah,
BMG here on the
soft
side.
defense coming through, and as I say, soft defense. Miranda's blinking of the ultimate. That Amelia gets absolutely decimated. Good start to the fight so far, and then baiting out the ult from the Cernanos means with Miranda stashing away, that's another one down, which isn't going to find use. Firefist had to use the beads there and is now isolated alone. Spark has dashed forward, but missing the heart bomb. The Amaterasu dash coming back through means no more will die, but a good engagement by Pingdiff. Miranda's really heads up play there, noticing that that is a Yamoja without beads. You trap them in the Pillar of Agony and they're going to go down, and Waddle just seemed to get caught with almost with their trousers hanging down there. Weren't quite sure what to do and how to respond.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Amelia definitely needed that beast because right now, like as you said, calling the Pillars of Agony, she's kind of a free thing, especially to be burnt down by double ADC, the Ravan, and even then, the Caprice CC is enough to just hold it down long enough. So, unfortunately, she's paying the price for that. And now, Ping Differ on the offensive, they might be looking for a mid tower. Well, it's very extremely low, so they're probably most likely going to take it. But right now, Ping Differ definitely in the driving seat currently, and hopefully, if they get more picks, they can take away this FG from Waddle.
Yeah, I think just the fact that they're able to respond with towers of their own now means they're just going to make the FG call basically nonsense. Almost nonsensical in its worth. It's got Waddle essentially nothing here. You know, there's still 3 tier 2 towers remaining, and they've got 30 seconds left of this fire giant now. They're not really in a position to siege. They don't seem to want to siege. Pingdiff have slowed this down the perfect amount that they needed to, and they're in a good position now to be able to take the next fight because of that. It's meant that they've been able to get power spikes online. Look at It's Me Benny. 3 crit items done, including the Deathbringer. He's now a key power spike. Has the wards available. Are we going to see the starter upgrade in this back? I think we might be waiting for it.
It's also worth knowing as well when their next FG up is that there's a trebuchet on the pink side of Ping Diff to send down left lane, and if that's left unanswered, then that's going to be a lot of free, hope maybe a free tower for Ping Diff as it does damage, starts sieging for them, and it will might cause the Waddle members to go cause fire, and then if it's a 4v5 around the fire giant, then it's definitely going to be a lot easier for Ping Diff, so they're going to keep that in their pocket, I think, for the FG.
Yeah, I think they will, and I think having this Gold Fury fight coming out now, they might want to take this. Big Man Jesus choosing to push the lane, and even though they know they're on it, Primal Fury not dropping too much just yet, is now starting to fall. The Crush is there as well as the Fields of Love. Firefist gets rooted, but is able to dash away. Now Big Man Jesus is finding himself in a world of hurt in his position. Manages to immune the ultimate out from Snowy, and that's the Scylla ultimate down already. Big losses, but Snowy still finds to pick up the kill on Big Man Jesus. The ult comes in onto Miranda, who now pops the Pillar of Agony, sucking in Firefist and one other. Ace K falls to Spark Fear, but Spark then falls to Snowy. Scylla very much in her own little positioning here, but it doesn't matter with all the damage dealers down from Pingdiff. It's another clean fight from Waddle. Mr. Nacho is going to be the next one to fall. Snowy keeping Miranda's away. And Pingdiff just don't seem to be able to compose themselves in these fights. They keep getting on to the burst.
I just don't think they're really respecting the Waddle CC. Like we saw BMJ go in, then I'm in a Yamoja ult, I'm gonna walk out. Okay, now I'm in a Gilgamesh ult. Okay, and then he's seat slowed, and then Scylla Crush. Like there's so much CC on Waddle's side that Pingdiff kind of have to wait for Waddle to come to them so they can answer back.
Yeah, I just don't think they're really selecting the right targets. You saw how much they blew there on Firefist. A lot of their early crowd control that they have in fights and the single target crowd control that they have. And it's gone on to an Amaterasu who realistically is not going to be your target. You know, they're tanky, they've got the dash, they've got the ultimate, which is CC immune and lasts quite a while. You're not going to find any luck having that as your target. By all means, poke them out, but then you got to walk away. You want to restart the fight. You need to reposition, find a good engagement. The problem was they'd already used the ultimate from the Raven, so the positioning wasn't there to be a choice. It was just there.
It's just difficult for Pingdiff as well because they can't really take these poke fights because overall Waddle have a lot more sustain. So Pingdiff have to go like 100 or 0. There's no in between. And if they're going 100 at the wrong time, it's just, well, they're going to go to 0. So
Yeah.
they really have to pick their key moments right now because this FG, I think, is going to be a very big turning point for the game, as that'll allow them to take either teams take the pressure, take their towers, start sieging, and it's clearly shown that both teams can play defense, but an FG is always nice to have.
Yeah, and I think the next FG could be quite crucial in terms of the swing of the game. I think Ping Diff needed just to be able to get back into it. Waddle, if they get it, is going to take the game completely away. Snowy does get blinked and ingressed on by Big Man Jesus, but then just dashes away and is sitting pretty. And that's a relic down
Trebuchet's been
from
set
Ping
up.
Diff. Trebuchet is being pushed up, which means Ping Diff now are going to be looking to almost stall out this fight, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, they can't really afford the poke, so they need to wait for that key moment. Wait until them hopefully grouped up. Maybe the FG's low, try and go for a steal, try and get those big ults because they really cannot afford a poke fight.
Yeah,
And
or
Waddle
wait
secured the
until
fire giant.
Amelia's for low on health. Waddle have got the Fire Giant. Ping Diff have to fight now, and they are doing so. Two ultimates come in. The Scylla ultimate not finding the mark, but Machiavelli's there into the backline, onto the ADC. Miranda's does find an early kill onto Ace K, though, and that's going to be a really big swing in this fight. That's a lot of momentum and damage for Waddle that is now gone. Ace K's been absolutely chunking. Dash in from Machiavelli. Snowy does find the kill onto Spark Fear with the crush. Firefist gets engaged on, but is able to get out, and only a 1-for-1. Ping Diff needed more from this. Think they've really needed more from this and haven't been able to find it. Now Miranda's so far out of position, getting
Oh,
absolutely chunked down by Snowy. And what's he even doing there? He's not going to achieve anything. Nacho's
this
now been baited out of position. This honestly could be
this
a
could be
Phoenix. This
a
could even be a game.
this could be a certified WOD W. But yeah, no, losing Ace K is definitely worth the trade for both Fire Giant and 3 kills on Ping Diff, and they definitely have the damage to Seizure, as you say, with the Phoenix, with the Amaterasu and Gilgamesh. So honestly, this definitely could be game, especially with the Scylla damage. Oh,
Definitely could, especially with the poly. That's just going to add so much tower damage, as well as the fact that this Gilgamesh is going to be shredding it. Got that Berserker shield for the bit extra attack speed. That's one Phoenix down. Waddle choosing not to go any further, and Pinged, if we mentioned that Trebuchet, they're going to get a tier 2 tower. Good
yeah,
for them.
nice small
Or are
win.
they? Or are they?
Oh,
Is
will
it
they?
focusing the minions? Ace there to defend.
I mean, another loss is that Waddle now of the Trebuchet, which is definitely going to help in their sieging potential.
Yeah, I mean, they send that down the lane, and then on the other side, they siege themselves.
Exactly, like Waddle are going to be all like everywhere right now. So Ping Diff needs to set up a very solid defense because they need to get those wards around. They need to be ready. Because one wrong mistake in this defense now can cost them the game.
Yeah. I mean, one misstep. Miranda's big man Jesus between the two of them. They really need to watch their positioning in these fights. They've been going for Ace K, that's fine. I think at this stage now you need to get to this Scylla. Look how much the damage gap between the two of them has changed. That's the thing that needs to be watched now by Ping Diff. Not that the Cernanos is still top damage, but it's that the Scylla's closed this off. Now, obviously, they can't see that, but it shouldn't be too difficult to recognize that suddenly Scylla's 7 and 2. They're getting all the kills. That's our new target, and it has to be their new target.
Yeah, as well. When Waddles start sieging the objectives like the Phoenixes, Amelia especially needs to be careful in like letting out her own kit because if Miranda spots that everything she has is down, he is definitely going to go for that free ult and she's definitely going to get burned for it. Because now that since she doesn't have beads, she is definitely a key target for Ping Diff. And if they lose Amelia, that is a lot of siege potential out the window for Waddle. So she needs to play very carefully here.
Yeah, I think she just needs to be careful of the positioning. She has been falling quite quickly, but is going to do so slower now with the spectral armor being online. Is really going to slow down the on-hers damage. And I think this is what I meant when I said that the crit was there. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be taken away so much.
Oh, blink
As
ult.
what we do see is double engage Ace K being forced to use beads, but now the rest of Waddle of Ping Diff being trapped in a less than favourable position. Ace K picks up the kill onto Sparkfire. Once again, the ADC for Ping Diff is the first to fall. Machiavelli now finds the kill onto Miranda's. Ace K finding a second one. Big Man Jesus dropping. Mr. Nacho does find the revive onto It's Me Benny, but I'm not quite sure it's going to matter. Phoenix is gone. Waddle are sieging now. Ace K going in. Snowy's there. They're just too high on health. Machiavelli dashing in onto Nacho. Titan falls lower, 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 and lower. And game one
Certified
goes to
Waddle W. Let's go. Like so. Unfortunately, with the defense, I think Mirandus and Sparfira kind of let their ults off a bit too early, and that basically gave Waddle the green light to walk in. Because without the Cupid Cripple, without the Pillars of Agony, that gave Waddle a lot of leeway to just walk in, set up their dive, set up their CC, and unfortunately, Pingdiff paid the price. And I think Pingdiff definitely have the potential to come back game two. I think they just need to hopefully maybe apply a bit more pressure in the early game, or try and focus on a comp that can equal to Waddle's late game.
Yeah, I think they had the early momentum great, and I like the idea with the double hunters. You know, Spark did his damage, but I just think the crit was not the right game for it. It wasn't the right game for it. You see a
Mhm.
Gilgamesh as, you know, you've got 2 warriors and a guardian. The base protections are going to be so high, as well as the fact that it's going to make you struggle to get to the backline. You want the Odibos, you need that team fight damage, you need the spread damage, and they just didn't have it. And I think that's a lot of the cause of why they've struggled quite so much.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately WODL came prepared. They managed to outlive their aggression, and they managed to put the aggression onto Ping Diff. And unfortunately, Ping Diff didn't have an answer to the similar type of play style. So hopefully, in game 2, we can see Ping Diff bounce back. But who would you give to MVP for game 1?
Snowy, without a doubt. I think I
Honest,
know it. Ace K I know did a lot of damage, but Snowy made the big plays in the fights that kept WODL in it. He was the pivotal plays around those pyromancers early game, and I think that was what made the difference. Ace K did his job, he did the damage, but Snowy's what kept WODL in the game. That's why he's taken my MVP.
personally, my MVP, I'm going to go give it to ASK because I think he does definitely deserve the recognition. Because I think even in a lot of fights where he did die, he still managed to take someone down with him. He still did a lot of damage, and he was, especially when they were diving, his ultimate, his cripple, gave a lot of leeway for Snowy to set up. And with both of them combined as a backline, they were very difficult to dive. So I think they both deserve some sort of recognition.
Absolutely. So far, the way it's going, then WODL will be heading into a round 3 game against either VTuber's Paradise or Kinkai's. Ping Diff staring down the daunting task of playing against the Protectors of Yggdrasil in the loser's bracket, and I don't think anybody wants to be there right now. We shall find out what happens in the next game very, very shortly. For now, we will be taking a very quick break. Stay tuned for the next match between Ping Diff and WODL.
Look left, look right, and I come with a hook right. Hook right, hook right. This what the angles look like. Way up, stood high, taking the view when it look right. And oh, it's the good life, whipping the sauce when I cook like. Look left, look right, yeah, yeah. Come with a hook right. Hook right, hook right, hook right. Make all the man them look twice. I'm way up, stood high, but I've been in the field like Suge Knight. And they know this took time. This what a legacy look like. This what a come with a come with a taking the view when it look right. And oh, it's the good life, whipping the sauce when I cook like. Look left, look right, yeah, yeah. Come with a hook right. Hook right, hook right, hook right. Make all the man them look twice. I'm way up, stood high, but I've been in the field like Suge Knight. And they know this took time. This what a legacy look like. This what a come with a
I'm saying? They really walking the face of the earth trying to judge J-Rock. You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? But I ain't shook, because fuckers try to take me out and stuff, but they can't, right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Too many times. 90 times? That's too many times.
Hey, Freddy Confetti, pop off!
Welcome back everyone to the glorious Smite League Lower Division end of Season 2 Finals Tournament Round 2. In this game we are going to be seeing if Diff can turn it around after losing the first game to the newly form-finding WODL, who have after winning their set last night in a single game, have now taken the first game against Diff, who are one of the higher seeds in the league after their start to the season. Changes in the mid lane have not made things easy for them, and it's shown after they just lost their cohesion from the mid to the late game in that last match. Mitch, what do they need to do?
Well, they've banned Emilia's Yamoja. I think that was definitely one of the key points that led to the victory with the amount of CC in the team fight and the sustain they had to take away the poke fights, and it's the only ban that's changed so far, and since that was changed, Vulcan was left open and WODL have taken it.
Yeah, WODL have taken it. I'm wondering if Machiavelli's got an Awelix available in his kit. Diff, though, there's things open. They could take the Hades again, but I don't think they need to build it like they do last time. Honestly, I am scared of seeing Snowy on this Vulcan. Man is mechanically very, very talented, and after what he did last game on Scylla, I'd be concerned if I was on the side of Diff right now. What they do, though, is they pick up Scylla and Cernunos. They have stolen WODL's backline, and honestly, I don't think it's a bad shout. The Vulcan turret is an easy target for the Scylla Sikkim. The Cernunos is able to just shred damage, nice amount of self-peel. Why not use what worked so well against you in that first game to take it to the team that just beat you?
Oh, definitely, and Diff are mechanically talented, so now they're going to have that amount of damage, it's definitely going to prove, and WODL are taking away Diff's support, and they're taking the Khepri for themselves, which is very understandable, especially since Emilia Jamoja is taken away from her, and WODL also take the Hades.
Yeah, Firefist thinking he can do better than Mirandus did on the Hades. Let's see if that is indeed the case or not. Mirandus was very much a bully in the laning phase, and towards mid-game, as soon as he got to those team fights, so he was finding picks for the Pillar of Agni, but then getting absolutely shredded by Snowy Scylla. As we discussed briefly within actually the the mid-game discussion, we were just talking about how the full damage Hades was not the play against the Polynomic on Scylla. Having a few resistances would have been smart. Marcus coming in though, this is an aggressive comp from Diff. They are looking for aggression in this duo lane. They want kills early.
I mean, they want to kills their first game, but this is like, it's kills or nothing, because if Bacchus does fall behind, he does fall behind pretty hard, but it does facilitate a lot of CC in the early game, and of course with BMJ's playstyle, depending on what he picks, it can definitely facilitate some pretty early kills. I'm just a bit worried though, because right now, it doesn't, again, it's kind of the Diff issue of there's not a lot of survivability in this comp, whilst WODL have the Hades sustain, they have the Khepri ult. So hopefully Diff don't go for a comp where it's 100 and 0 again, and then go for the Jing Qian, which is most likely solo.
They are indeed pulling out the Jing Qian. As you said, is probably the solo, can deal fine with the Hades, gonna get out cleared, no doubt about that. But he's gonna sustain okay with that HP 5, just consistently hitting the waves, and you're gonna be, fairly content with that being the case. I don't think Diff need to worry about that too much. What they do need to worry about is this Humbars coming through. That's a lot of beads burning from the Hades and the Humbars collectively, and if they're stalling out these ultimates, that's a world of hurt. That is a world of hurt.
I mean, even the Khepri can burn beads in the right scenario, and Cernunos and Bacchus definitely have to be scared of it. And even then, Scylla, once she's ulted, Humbat's can put out her feet. By the time her ult's done, she's going to be in the Fear No Evil. The Jing Qian also has the CC set up with his ultimate, but I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a lot more difficult for a Xingqian late game to get in, whilst the Humbat has his teleport.
Yeah, I mean, the Humbas has the teleport, he's got a much quicker dash, has available to be blinking. He's going to have a speed buff, so it's probably going to be naturally faster anyway. So I think it's going to be much easier for him to get in there, much more difficult for the Xingqian. Now, whether that transpires late game, we'll see actually how they play this. It might just be that the Xingqian is able to get in there very, very easily and very quickly. We just don't quite know that yet. And the Chernobog coming through, there's a bit of global presence. WODL looking for rotations, maybe looking for more early game pressure in comparison to the last game, maybe looking for some more objective plays where you completely overload Ping Diff.
Yeah, Chernobog is definitely a safe pick, especially to Cernos. You can just try and avoid him as much as you can, and then once a big team fight breaks out, Chernobog is going to be there. And it also gives WODL a lot of leeway around the objectives as well, where Chernobog can push up the lane, also it's a 4v5, and then he can come back and make it a 5v5, and God forbid if Ping Diff try and go counter that Chernobog, it will turn into a 4v4 instead of 5v4 in favour of WODL, so it gives them a lot of leeway in what they want to do.
Yeah, I just think they've drafted this very well right now. Even if it means that they're a little bit behind late game, they can split push, they're guaranteeing themselves objectives. And then they'll come back into things later and, you know, be able to even up fights because suddenly their ADC is there. They can fight around objectives and turn it very quickly if they can find the ult into the right positions. Maybe if the front line have dived too hard, that leaves the back line free to be engaged on, especially if they've already used their kit. I think this is a smart pickup from WODL.
I'm just waiting for Ping Diff's final pick now, which is obviously going to be their jungler, and a few picks are open. The Lancelot is open currently. There's the...
Looking at the rat, I'm honestly surprised they've not taken the Gilgamesh themselves. Big Man Jesus made Gilg and Bologna his picks in Season 1.
I mean, he got a pentakill on the Gilgamesh, didn't he? Or was it some... Oh, no, it was Bologna, my bad, sorry.
He almost got 2. He almost had a second pentakill, Bologna, but my thing that I'm looking at is Gilgamesh has been buffed. He's very competent on it. Why not use it?
I mean, Rat is...
Why not use it?
Really
Oh yeah,
good.
Rat is still good. I think it's countering the global presence a little bit. You know, he's got the ability to rotate him from long away and sort of turn a fight either after Machiavelli's engaged or before Machiavelli can actually get there if he finds that he's the first person there. I think it is a good pick. As I said, I completely agree. I think Gil would have been just as good. I don't know how comfortable Big Man Jesus is on the Rat. As we are now transitioning into the game, looking at the starts, Mirandus once again choosing to go for that Tainted Steel, this time against the Hades. Not really against much else. I don't know if I like it as much in this situation. I don't think it's going to be quite as valuable. I think maybe just going for some extra clear or some extra tankiness would have been better, whereas this, you're not finding too much value out of the passive beyond lane.
I mean, personally, I probably would have went the Conduit and then just get a Divine Ruin later on in the game. Gives a lot more damage, gives a lot, and I mean, Xingqian with a lot of damage, trust me, hits really hard, especially with his ultimate. So, but right now, it's like I just say, the Tainted Steel, yeah, it does negate the Hades heal, but towards the late game, it won't really be that impactful.
Yeah, I think it's just not going to scale as well. I don't think the passive is going to find enough value in team fights. And I think that's a completely fair point. Now, Nacho here, on terms of the starter, choosing to opt into a lot of mana sustain early. Can't say I blame him. That Sentinel's gift is going to keep the Bacchus in lane, where he's definitely going to struggle otherwise due to the constant chugging of the beer. There is a contestant over the scepter here, but Ping Diff do find it, and Spark Fear takes that first one. Stun goes in onto ACK, followed up by the knock-up, and then the root. ACK taking huge amounts of damage, not able to get himself out of it, and there goes First Blood very, very quickly into the duo lane for Ping Diff. They were looking for aggression. They've got aggression, and it has paid off. First Blood onto Spark Fear. Can he make it count this game? The early pressure that he has.
Yeah, just the knock-up and then being followed up with the Cernos too is just very difficult for like Chernobog to get away from, because once he's crippled he can't get his free, and even then he's level 2, he didn't even have it, so there's not really much he could really have done. And now First Blood going to the Cernos gives him a lot of gold and gives him a lot of leeway when it comes to this lane now.
Yeah, I mean, he can be aggressive. It's going to be a real difficulty for the Chernobog to be able to get out of there. The ultimate doesn't really provide much escape. All it does is buy you time. You can kind of go up and down. If you go elsewhere, you're usually still putting yourself in danger. So this is going to be very difficult for ASK to sort of come back in, especially if Spark gets to the stage where he's level 5 and he's either invading on cooldown or Nacho with a really nice steal there with the Belch of the Gods, or freezing the waves. But yeah, this is some really nice start for the duo lane of Ping Diff, and if they can keep this up, play some good macro, then this is going to be a very difficult turnaround for WODL.
Yeah, good macro, bit of XP invading, with it being Cernanos at Bacchus as well. By going to take the lead, I'm going to try and do as much with it. Obviously, Cernanos I don't really need to explain, but with the Bacchus going around the map, being the actual level up possibly as well, it just gives a lot of setup for Ping Diff, where they want to make these aggressive plays. And right now, so far, Snowy has the mid lane aggression, whilst Mirandus has the solo lane aggression.
Yeah, and honestly, that's quite surprising that Mirandus has this. He's playing the Jing Qian. This Hades should be massively out clearing him, but really just isn't. Snowy just uses maneuverability, has him to pop the early bees, but that's a really good second from It's Me, Benny. Snowy falling lower and lower on health, does find the knockup, but now Big Man Jesus is going to get turned around on. Snowy picks up the kill onto Big Man Jesus from absolutely nothing. The Earthshaker does come through, but isn't going to find the mark. And now WODL on the board with their mid laner on this Vulcan in a situation where it's very scary for Ping Diff. On the duo lane side, though, almost falling is Amelia. Out of mana just enough to get the abduct off and get out of there. But now look at Machiavelli. He's showing up and he's greedy for kills. Doesn't have the ultimate ready yet. But Spark is low. Has the ult, though. That is a danger for the Humbats, but with the beads available, I don't think he's too concerned. The root is there. Spark dashes in. Mr. Nacho picks up the kill onto Amelia. There is the polymorph. Machiavelli does use the beads to not get changed, but actually no real damage coming onto Spark, and that's just a clean kill.
Yeah, this dual lane is just pretty much facilitated to be Ping Diffs at this point. Oh.
Machiavelli does get the ultimate ready, but Mr. Nacho doesn't really care. He's just going to jump on out of there. I think Machiavelli trying to gank that before having the ultimate ready was just too bold. Too ambitious.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to work too well.
Unfortunately, as well, since obviously Waddle lost the kill as well, with Ping Diff getting the kill, giving them the Humbats ult as well, and maybe another kill. Hopefully, he should be able to dash away. I'm pretty sure it's dash long enough to get away. Yeah,
it is definitely out. Amelia's back as well now, meaning actually
to a kill.
Ping Diff need to be careful. Nacho falling quite low here, doesn't have the shell available, and Amelia picks up the second kill for Waddle. Shame for Waddle that didn't go to Ace K. They needed him to get that little bit of gold regenerated, but the assist is still good for them. By no means is this the end of the world. They've got a little bit of recovery on this duo lane, and that's going to help them out a ton.
Yeah, Nacho got a little bit greedy there and unfortunately paid the price, but still though, Spark Fear's still got his lead, he's still got his XP, so thankfully it wasn't Spark that died, it was Nacho of all people, and Nacho's now, I don't think he's going to return to duo, he's going to start rotating, go into mid, and hopefully try and apply pressure elsewhere, while so far this solo lane is just kind of sleeper, not really much going on, whilst Snowy is just doing what he can, whilst it looks like Waddle are going to, Ping Diff are going to get the oracles. Yeah,
and this is just the way it's going to be. While they've picked very few sort of, aggressive characters in the solo. Like sure, Hades is aggressive, but Jing Chen's going to just dash away. It is not a problem for him to do that at all.
Yeah, he can't really do much with the Pillars of Agony either because Jing Chen can ult and just walk out. He can leap away, and it looks like overshot the leap.
Big Man Jesus just able to dash away from that one, but almost found himself in a world of hurt there.
He still might be.
Just about turn around. Yeah, could still be. Ace K is there, but not quite finding enough over the wall, meaning that BNJ is going to be able to get out of his life. But they are going to lose the Scorpion to Waddle, and that little bit of gold is going to add up as we saw it did last game.
That's going to be a bit of a loss for SK as well, because not only has he lost his ult, he's definitely lost a bit of farm now since he made his all the way to solo lane. He has to make his way back all over, so that's going to give Spark that nice little injured spear, get a bit of pressure, and now ASK doesn't have an ult to work with anymore, now that Ping Diff definitely know it's down, and that's unfortunately the downside of Chernobog, where if you ult a bit too prematurely, you end up losing more than you do gaining.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's happened there. Spark already had a bit of a lead. Ace K came back into it and has now lost everything he got from that assist, and we can see just how much pressure he has lost. Having to use a health potion there, falling very, very low, only down 2 stacks, but is now having to stay for this wave, is almost guaranteed to lose the next one. Snowy, though, getting aggressed on in mid lane. Mr. Nacho with some really good aggression, forcing out the ult from Amelia. And Snowy's just about going to be able to live, but just showing how much pressure this Barker sprint can bring. And Nacho piloting it very, very adeptly right now.
Yeah, and Amelia responded quite well too with the shell, and the ult was definitely a good idea, especially with the Scylla ult possibly coming out. So I think Amelia made the right call there.
Nice dash there from Big Man
Oh.
Jesus to block the abduct and then block the running away from the Scylla ult, which hits Machiavelli on the return there. Really good smart play from the jungle and really nice kill.
Ooh.
From Ping Diff, WODL almost responding with another of their own. Nacho walking back into the Earthshaker, but not quite enough damage for Snowy to pick up that kill there, even at max range without any penetration online. Isn't going to be finding enough there. Fire Fist, though. Looking for a cheeky invade here. Jesus just cleared out that back camp, so not going to find anything, but it's
Yeah, he
some
has the pressure
very
for it.
cheeky aggression from the solo laner. Can't say blame him. Look at where the wave is. He's not
Oh
losing
yeah,
anything.
no, you can't blame him. And it's also worth knowing is that in game 1, it was very noticeable that it was a very ping diff focused early game. Whilst they were getting all the kills, it took a while for WODL to respond. This game though, this is a trading blows. Both teams are getting kills left and right. WODL have definitely found themselves in a better position than they did last game, and they've proven themselves to be very adept when it comes to team fights and late game. And that is a very good position for WODL to be in, I think.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think it's just a case of last game, WODL came into this, obviously they were lower in the seedings than Ping Diff. Surely they have been finding some form recently, but I think they just struggled to find the confidence to get themselves into the game. They're very much and about what they should do as their game plan. And it took them that minute and almost the calmness of getting themselves through the game, thinking, actually, we're not that far behind, to bring themselves back into it. Now they got the confidence to just retaliate whenever they can,
Earthshaker.
because they have the opportunity. Earthshaker comes through, but isn't going to find anything. Big Man Jesus using the Across the Skies just to get out with the Ratatoska. Not Across the Skies, that's Apollo. Sparkfear, though, continuing to get aggressive onto Ace K, who has to jump into the wall, dashes away again after, but Machiavelli's making the rotation over to Spark here. Spark has the bead, so won't find himself in too much danger unless he does something like dashing in. There comes the Fear No Evil from the Hoombats. There is the Sky being dropped for Ace K, but now Machiavelli's had it turned on. Nacho is there. Sparkfire finds 1 kill. Nacho continuing to go aggressive, gets Ace K down. There's the ultimate. The drunkenness is beads away. The crowd control isn't going to have too much of a hit, and Ace K is going to live, but really, really good counter gank from Mr. Nacho, meaning that his ADC doesn't even go down, and they find an extra kill.
Yeah, they're trying to find it, but Spark Fury, it just being really mechanically talented as well, just him picking a Cernanos, he's very difficult to take on in a 1v1, especially in gank, so he played it really well there, and it's also worth noting as well, I noticed it on the other side of the map, but Fire Fist got very, very close to soloing Mirandus, so right now this Hades has a lot of pressure, so whilst the duo is being pressured out by Ping Diff, WODL definitely has a solo pressure, so this is very equal so far, and WODL are only about 700 gold ahead behind. So
Nothing significant.
no, definitely not. And objectives are coming up on the map now. They won't be looked at straight away because I don't think either team can burn them that quickly right now. But it looks like, oh wait, no.
Ping Diff are certainly trying, but I agree.
Definitely
I don't think they
looking at
can. They have decent secure. So do WODL. WODL also
Oh.
have the potential to really sort of take an engagement around objectives here. With the turret, it can kind of just wail away at
Earthshaker's up.
it without much help. Yeah, Earthshaker is up, but so is the ultimate from the Scylla, and that is the ultimate going down from the Vulcan, who finds himself very, very low into the skies. Goes Big Man Jesus. He's looking for this Vulcan. Down he falls, but
Great
there's
ult.
the ultimate from Amelia. Perfectly timed to keep the mid laner alive. Fire Fist is here and does pick up the kill onto Big Man Jesus through the damage from Snowy, who's already recovered a lot. Sparkfire, though, gets a double kill. Machiavelli getting knocked up. Sparkfire finds a triple kill. Snowy's also incredibly low. It's me, Benny dashing in. Finds a quadra kill for Sparkfire. Amelia's out of position. Isn't going to go for the penta, but huge plays. Huge crits from the ADC for a spit Ping Diff. And that is how you get aggression early on a Cernanos.
Yeah, once Spark Fury gets ahead, he is ahead. He's gonna pressure this game. He's gonna do all he can, and getting a quadra kill, securing his team the Gold Fury as well. Ping Diff are in a very, very handsome situation right now.
They are indeed brilliant plays coming out from the ADC for Ping Diff. Really just good play in general as well. Big Man Jesus, granted he was very low, but warranted. He wasn't going to be able to do anything more in that fight. Could have chosen to get out, instead chose to go in, forced the Kepri ult, which shifted a lot of momentum for Ping Diff because it meant they didn't have it for the re-engage. Snowy already had it used on him and was low, meaning that he couldn't really step up too much. Granted, they did manage to pick up the kill onto Big Man Jesus in the end, but then 4 of them fell. The Gold Fury fell. Really well played just by Ping Diff as a whole. I don't think there was anyone who really misstepped too much in that engagement, full stop.
No, definitely not, and I don't really think WODL should have looked at the gold tree in the first place. Everybody was up, and ultimates were up as well. It's just a very risky situation, especially where Scylla hasn't got all of her damage yet to secure it. No, Scylla. No, wait, hold on. No, sorry. But, yeah, no. It's just very questionable lookings, I think, and unfortunately they have paid for it.
Yeah, they have indeed. Now, by no means are they out of this game, mind you. WODL, they're only, a couple of thousand gold down. They were this far down last game, and it didn't really matter too much, especially when Snowy's hitting ultimates like that. Big Man Jesus being forced out of this one. Nacho with a really nice stun. Just finding the time for Big Man Jesus to get into the air, but Firefist is here. Nacho does not have the jump, meaning he's going to fall. Firefist is going to fall in response, but so is Big Man Jesus on the other side, though. Spark Fear makes it a 2 for 2 by picking up the solo kill onto Ace K. And this game, as it has been both last match and in this match, is incredibly back and forth.
Yeah, it's just blows after blows, and I think especially what as well I want to bring up as well with the Xenos and pressure, it makes it incredibly difficult for Chernobog to rotate because there's one thing when a Chernobog rotates on you, right? But then it's not that much when it's an under-leveled Chernobog that's been starved of XP. So right now, Sparkfear has definitely got the reins over WODL, and it's very difficult for them to respond to what Ping Diff are doing because they have so much more damage to respond with if WODL try and step up.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit of a struggle right now. Honestly, for either team to step up, I think it's easier for Ping Diff to almost disengage just because they've got so many abilities that allow them to disengage individually. The Vulcan, granted, has the self knock up and the ability to dash away, but it's not exactly that far. What it is an Earthshaker coming through, and they're gonna pull this. Ping Diff, though, still securing the Pyromancer. There is the engagement now by Firefist and Machiavelli, but Machiavelli falls very quickly. Firefist falls shortly after, and that leaves the rest of WODL in a very disadvantageous situation. Snowy being forced into using the Aegis and is going to be able to find himself safe under the tower, but that's another objective in favor of Ping Diff to lead up to 4,000 gold now. Ace K is able to take the tier 1 tower on the other side for WODL, but it's, 2 kills and a Pyromancer in exchange for a tower in favor of Ping Diff. They're going to take that every day of the week.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a small win for ASK, nice little tower, and thankfully he got out. It was very close. He almost got cut out there, but right now I think WODL just needs to try and farm up, try and see what they can do because they need to farm up to respond to all these. Because as we saw with the Hades last game, if he can't initiate, he's not going to be doing that much. And
Yeah.
I think Amelia has been playing really well this game, despite the fact that they've been behind because she's been doing really good ults. She's been peeling where she can. It's just unfortunately Capri can only peel so much. So it's just a matter of fact of keeping an eye on Ping Diff, what they're going for. And I think the only really thing they should really try and contest is maybe the Fire Giant. If it's a Pyromancer or Gold Fury at this stage, maybe let it go because Ping Diff are going to fight for it. And if you give Ping Diff the Fire Giant, it's going to be a whole nother world of hurt.
Yeah, it is. Now, Amelia is the only one with a lead for WODL right now, but the Barkas is just able to find so much aggression that I don't think he really cares. The team's getting the gold, and with all the assists that he's got plenty of money to spend to actually keep himself tanky and relevant, even when his levels aren't down there. Now, that might have a play in the next fight. If the fight occurs and there's a difference in the relics, Amelia could back right now, get her second one. Might be enough to impact the fight in favour of WODL. They've not been far off in some of these if you see how low Ping Diff have been getting. They just need that little bit extra, but right now it's a case of even the support difference in experience is not really relevant. The gold is just about in favour of Nacho, or at least in terms of built items. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to favour the Jing Chen here to be doing a lot more in fights in Hades just because the Hades is going to get blown up. Similarly to last game, it's full damage. Where's the protection against the Scylla with Polynomicon? They fell falling into the exact same mistake.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's like as you say as well, the support level difference. It's just having a level difference in support is probably the least meaningful thing as a support because yeah, Natural's one level down, but he's also Bacchus. He's still tanky. He's still going to jump in, get a big knock up, get those ults, get those intoxicates. He's still going to be plenty useful to the fight. And it looks like WODL may contest his Gold Fury, but if it
They
goes wrong, they're
might
going to pay the
struggle
price.
because Snowy already being forced out. The ultimate's being forced out. Here comes Euroshaker. It's alongside Pillar of Agony. Ace K picks up the kill onto Mr. Nacho. Ping Diff are incredibly low here, and I don't think WODL are going to mind their situation too much. They've still got 2 full health characters. They did expend all their ults there, though. Scylla still has the ultimate available, as does Mirandus, but Mirandus surely is too low to stay here. Big Man Jesus lurking around the side. There goes the crush. Sycam and the ultimate still available for the Scylla, and WODL second guessing this one. They've taken the kill. They got the pick. Choosing instead to maybe look for another one here. Big Man Jesus a little bit out of position. Gonna dash away. WODL still lurking on this Gold Fury. Are they going to go for this? They've got this support and the ADC here. They've got the consistent damage to burn it, but do they have the secure? If it's me, Benny finds out that they're doing this, absolutely not.
With the Earthshaker being down, I think it's definitely a smart play to just kind of like back off a little bit because God forbid if they try and take it and Ping Diff still manage to steal it off them, especially with it being an Oni Fury as well, and with Fire Giant probably going to be looking on the map very soon, it's definitely not worth the risk, especially where it most likely would have been 50-50. So now that it's in this position where Ping Diff have made their way over to the Gold Fury now, it's a 5v2 currently, and it looks like Snowy's going to pay the price.
Already been forced into both of his relics. Mirandus finding the ultimate to reposition him back into the team. There comes the double ultimate. Spark Fair picks up that kill. Mirandus picks up Amelia. Machiavelli comes in with a Fear No Evil, but it's too late to make an impact and is having to dash away to disengage, keep himself alive. Ace K is around, but Firefist is nowhere near, and it's very much likely that this Oni Fury is going to go the way of Ping Diff, who find themselves currently with a 3k gold lead, now up to 4.
I'm very surprised that WODL didn't group up as a 5 and come back for that Gold Fury because whilst it's clearly contested, it is a good situation where both teams definitely wanted it. And whilst Ping Diff made their way back over, WODL only had 2 people there, which made it a lot easier for Ping Diff to, of course, take it. So I don't really understand the play there, but look, Firefist is still, getting that farm. He's still getting all that damage he needs, and unfortunately, now that Ping Diff has 2 trebuchets, Oni minions going through, they have a lot of map pressure, so they can definitely look at this Pyromancer. Wouldn't be that hard for them to take, and then they could start setting up for this Fire Giant.
Yeah, Big Man Jesus just playing mind games there with Fire Fist, forcing him to stay beyond this point where he wanted to. Was about to back, now instead choosing to go over, clear out some Oni minions. Can't say I blame him, but down mid, we do see the first trebuchet pushing. Are they going to push the second one as well? We shall see. Doesn't look like they are, saving that one instead for a Fire Giant push. But Ping Diff do have the momentum here, and Snowy taking some big damage from Big Man Jesus here, getting dropped to about half health, now being forced to back. And if that's been spotted, that should be the go call for Ping Diff to take this Pyromancer. And with a level 20 Cernanos at this stage, they should be doing whatever they want to.
Yeah, that's absolutely terrifying. It's nightmare fuel. Like, Ace K, unfortunately, can't match that whatsoever at this point because not only is Cernos just overall better god than Chernobog, but having a 3-level difference is incredibly huge for ADC, especially in the item department. So, thankfully, though, Ace K is playing to his god's strength. He is trying to get the split push. He is trying to take what he can and then hopefully rotate to fights if they do break out and forcing Ping Diff to keep an eye on him because you don't really want to Chernobog at your Phoenix once you're trying to take FG. And so far, Firefist still has his pressure, and it looks like they're rotating on the Jinx.
Yeah, Mirandus not having a tower to retreat to here is going to be forced to blink out, but there's the ultimate from Firefist. Mirandus trading out ultimates is going to live, but with Ace K ulting as well, that's currently a 2-for-1 in favor of ults. Both solo laners using their blink, so losing a massive amount of engagement there. Ping Diff, I think, will favour that just because they've got their backline so far ahead that they're the ones they want to protect. And if there's no blink on the solo, they don't get protected. WODL are starting Fire Giant here. It's fallen relatively low. Nacho diving in, using the ultimate. is going to be able to keep him alive for a fair while, but there's the Fear No Evil mixed in with the Earthshaker, meaning that he's going to go down. Big Man Jesus finding himself incredibly out of position, also going to fall. Sparkfire is there with the Polymorph, forces the beads out of Fire Fist and the ult from Amelia, who also has used the Shell. Aegis down on Big Man, on Snowy. Lots of relics used there by Waddle, but they've come away with 2 kills in their favour, so I don't think they are going to mind that one bit. They're back on the Fire Giant here, but Ping Diff are still very, very healthy, and I don't think it's even that bad of a fight for them to take here, even though it is 3v5.
No, looks like Ping Diff are definitely going to contest it. Waddle have been taken off.
Mirandus, oh my god, what an ultimate. Finding 3, getting 2 uses of the beads out. Double kill there for Mirandus. What an incredible value ultimate. The cooldown reduction in the build, finding the value that it needs to, and that's a big swing for Ping Diff to just save that fight a little bit. Snowy taking massive damage from the crush, now finding himself out of position, throws out the meatball to try and get the knock up, isn't going to find it. Mr. Nacho's on the way up. Snowy is stuck between a rock and a hard place, chooses the hard place to die to, and now it's Ping Diff's turn for the Fire Giant.
Yeah. Ace K's currently left, but I don't really think it's worth him trying to rotate. His ult is up now, but he's probably going to die on the way there. It's a very telegraphed ultimate, so hopefully he's going to try and get tower and get that small win whilst Waddle was setting up the defenses, because Ping Diff are taking the Fire Giant, and that is huge for them, especially now that they're making away with a 6k gold lead.
Yeah, so this is a big lead, and this is where you start to get to the reaches of it being almost unassailable. This is a very dangerous spot now for Waddle. They're going to need a very, very, very good few team fights to get themselves back into this. Positive side of that, though, look at Firefist. He is now transitioning into some tankiness, which is by far the right thing to do, is what he needs to be doing, being able to stay in these fights for an extra couple of cooldown rotations, have some extra cooldowns in there as well.
Yeah, also ASK fighting Mirandus up there. Hopefully he can try and get out, but he might be paying the price for his rotation.
Might indeed. ASK is not going to be able to beat the Xingqian right now, the damage reduction that he provides. He is finding the ultimate. Machiavelli has used the Fear No Evil, but Big Man Jesus is hovering in the air here. Is going to find himself jumping away and straight into the Ratatoskr ult. Big Man Jesus finding that kill onto ASK. Mirandus now just returning himself to base, has the teleport available, so we'll be able to join the siege of Ping Diff here very, very quickly. Ping Diff will be happy to just let that one wait out.
And he can set off the Trebuchet as well in the right lane. Oh no, he's teleported instead, but unfortunately it looks like Waddle are not really going to give away this tower.
No, they are not ready to. Firefist going in, blinking in to use the Pillar of Agony. Mirandus is there. Machiavelli having to get the Khepri ultimate forced onto them just to be able to stay alive and stay in this fight. Is hanging around in the backline. They don't have any ultimates left, and I think for Waddle, this is the stage now to think, you know what, we're just going to give this. Big Man Jesus especially lurking around the corner. He's looking for Machiavelli. They know he's there. He stood right on top of a ward. Snow using a lot of his kit, though, to get that engaged. Now, Amelia and Firefist both finding themselves in less than favourable positions. Firefist able to dash away from the Polymorph, but with that occurring, Big Man Jesus is able to lurk on the side and pick off Machiavelli, who's now gone from the fight. And Ping Diff are going to go ahead and take themselves a Gold Fury. That went from a 5k lead to 10k very, very quickly there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Unfortunately, they should just let that tower go, and they've paid the price. They've not only lost it, but they also lost the home mats as well. So, with the Gold Fury going to the side of Ping Diff, they have a lot of leeway. Again, they have the Trebuchet right, and they're probably going to make their way over to the next left tower, take all the towers down, and then hopefully go for a Phoenix. But Pyromancer is up, so hopefully Waddle can recuperate a bit of the loss and get the gold. But right now, they just need to focus on their defense.
Yeah, I mean, from our perspective on the map now, we can see that Waddle can quite freely take the Pyromancer, and they pretty much need to. They need to take any small win that they can get right now. Are pulling it, melting it quite quickly here. It is indeed going to go down to them, unless Big Man Jesus can pull off a miracle, which he does not. Pyromancer goes to Waddle, but still 11,500 gold down. It's nullified 500 of the deficit, but not enough to make a large impact right now. They're going to... I mean, realistically, what do they do here? What do Waddle do here? Because there's so many threats to their team right now, and the only people they've been able to kill this game have been Big Man Jesus and Mr. Nacho, and they're not going to mind Ping Diff. I'm going to mind that so far. Their carries are alive as well as a tank.
Best they can do is hopefully play defense and have maybe utilize the 8k with the Chernobog, try and split push, try and get as much farm as he can, really try and alleviate the pressure from the map. But the issue is that Chernobog in a team fight when he's grouped up in a 5v5, his ult really isn't that useful, and they're missing that big impact ult from the ADC, whilst the Sonos over here is polymorph with no mitigations at all, which makes it very difficult. And here comes Miranda with the ultimate.
Yeah, forcing the purification out of Snowy, but Amelia once again, 2 games in a row where she's not bought the beads against the CC heavy comp, and it's made her suffer. Last game they were able to get away with it in big ultimates. Fear no evil and Earthshaker picking off Big Man Jesus once again, but yet again, the priority targets are still alive. Pingdiff do not mind losing their jungler at this stage. They've shown that all game they don't care about losing their jungler because they've lost him 5 times and won in almost every single fight since then.
Still,
it's not consequential.
Still, they'll get in the pick, and even though it does unfortunately trade Amelia, it does prevent from Pingdiff growing up as a 5 and taking away that Phoenix. So hopefully that is a good position for them to be in. Unfortunately, the minion wave is making its way into the left Phoenix, and no one's there to defend it. Oh, well, the minion wave's up, but Fire Giant is coming up soon, so I can imagine Pingdiff are definitely going to look for that and try and secure the win after that.
They are. I think right now WODL needs to take a fight. They've got 15 seconds before Big Man Jesus is spawning. They need to be able to find the person who's warding the Fire Giant and just get them gone before any other fight can start. Unfortunately, they've all chosen to back, wanting to be as 5, which is smart, but they needed to be as 5 earlier, moving up to pick off Miranda's here, who is relatively out of position, but is incredibly tanky and also going to be throwing out a lot of damage with this build.
Yeah, right now, WODL, understandably, are definitely going to try and contest this FG, because if they do manage to get it, it is going to be big for them. It definitely won't bring down the gold lead to a significant amount, but still having that FG buff and taking it away from Pingdiff is all the more worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that WODL have got to look for is that it doesn't actually matter, as we see a good engagement from Miranda's there. Snowy with no beads is going to fall. Amelia using the ultimate on herself. Big Man Jesus is up into the air. Mr. Nacho chasing through Amelia. The ultimate does still get to pop, and there's a Fear No Evil to turn it around. Mr. Nacho and Big Man Jesus taking a lot of damage again. Chased through by Machiavelli, but he's alone against Sparkfear and Big Man Jesus. The ultimate comes through from It's Me Benny, absolutely shredding Ace K, who does fall in the end to Miranda's. Fire Fist is only just made his way here. Amelia's there, but with only those 2 around with Machiavelli and no ultimate on the Hoombats, this is most likely to be a free Fire Giant for Pingdiff, especially with how much Big Man Jesus just healed off that camp. Ooh.
Yeah, unfortunately, Snowy was picked off before he can even get the Earthshaker damage off as well, which is really unfortunate for their team fight potential. And Pingdiff looks like they're going to hit FG without any trouble. WODL might try and contest it, but I feel like they're going to lose their lives doing that. And I feel like, hopefully they should get out here.
Miranda's just finding the time to do that. Fire Fist, I don't think he will either. Very much out of position, just taking the damage from the Jingchen ultimate, even if he's not being pulled by it with no dash. Mantle of Discord down and no beads available or anything like that. That's a pick onto the solo laner for Pingdiff, who are now making their way down into this right-hand Phoenix. Earthshaker is coming through, but doesn't find the mark onto anyone but Miranda's, who's starting to take a few chunks of damage. Machiavelli, though, got absolutely melted by Sparkfear. Amelia also getting burned down, and that leaves it to just Snowy and Ace K, and as much as they can do damage, how safely they can do it is another question. A little bit of poke onto Mr. Nacho, but Pingdiff are sieging for the final Titan push here. Big Man Jesus into the air, knocks up Snowy. Big damage onto Snowy, who falls to Sparkfear. Ace K, now left alone, is getting absolutely melted in the base. This is the ultimate from Big It's Me Benny, but it's forced to dash out of Ace K, gets into the wall. He's turning around, he's doing all the damage that he can, but there's the huge crush damage from the Scylla. The ADC falls and Pingdiff even up the set.
Yeah, unfortunately, WODL really couldn't handle the pressure that Pingdiff. I mean, early on they did, but Pingdiff just really played the map extremely well this game, and they had a lead and they just ran away with it, and it made it really difficult for WODL to respond. And hopefully, we'll see WODL come back game 3, but Pingdiff could close it out game 3. But right now, this is looking like a very even set, and I think if WODL want to try and come back in game 3, they could try and go for pressure themselves, maybe out pressure Pingdiff, or maybe try and go for get the Sun and Us themselves, because right now I think Sun and Us is running the set.
Yeah, that pick so far has been incredibly successful in both games, and right now that pick needs to be top pick or ban. There is no question about it. 1-1 in this set. Pingdiff have very, very convincingly evened that one up, and it's going to be tough for WODL to regain momentum here. Pingdiff are going to be feeling themselves. WODL maybe questioning just how much they can do. Big damage coming out from the backline of Pingdiff, and fair play to Snowy, also doing a lot in that one. 26,000 damage, definitely pulled his fair share. Machiavelli did his bit, but unfortunately unable to find any kills of his own, and Ace K really not what you need at that stage. Did get the structure damage in, but just not the player damage to back it up. And MVP for that game, I honestly, Spark did hugely. I think Miranda's, some of those team fights.
Yeah, I think you can make a really good case for both of them, but personally, I'd give it to Spark because he completely shut down the Chernobog and did not let it do whatever it wanted to do. He just completely turned it off. He was like, you know what, you're not going to play this game. And the amount of damage he was following up with all the CC just allowed to completely control this game.
Yeah, and it very, very much did. I mean, if we look at what's gone on there, the Cernanos has done huge damage. What you may have noticed, however, is that 2 games in a row, I've ignored the Cernanos as my MVP pick. I have no biases, obviously. Anyway, for now, we are going to go into one final short break in this set before we return for the final game between Ping Diff and WODL, who is going to come out victorious and face off against either VTubers as Paradise or Kinkai's, who will be the loser, who then goes off into the losers bracket to face off against Protectors of Yggdrasil in the second losers round game. We shall find out very, very shortly. Stay tuned.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you play far reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll ride into smoke when the fire is fierce. No, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die.
Tag me in, coach. Oh, I'm in. Let's go. We're here for game 3 of WODL versus Ping Diff in the glorious, slightly lower division. This has been a fascinating set so far. WODL took game 1 after falling behind a little bit early, whereas Ping Diff then came in afterwards, took the game back. They've convincingly won game 2 and are now looking like they have a lot of momentum into this third game of the set, and look like they'll be on to round 3 of the winners bracket.
Yeah, this is going to be the final game as well, so it's pretty big for both teams right now. A lot's riding on it, and so far the bans, Ping Diff not letting Amelia have a Emoja on you. Again, WODL getting rid of the Ishtar, and then getting rid of the Vulcan and the Scylla, which is clear that surely they're going to pick the Cernanos first, I can imagine.
That's exactly why I'm thinking they've let all of this go through right now. That Cernanos being open. No, they're gone Darji. Well, you know what? That shuts down the Cernanos, so honestly, don't blame them. That's just as good.
Yeah, I would have been really concerned if they picked the Cernanos and then Ping Diff got Darji, especially BMJ Darji. So, very understandable pick, but that does leave a lot of options for Ping Diff to pick. The could go the Cernanos themselves. Again, they can maybe go the Hades, been played a lot, but I don't think it's been impactful in both games, so I hardly doubt it. But they're going for the Cernanos, which understandable, despite the Darji, but honestly, with the amount of damage, it might be worth the risk, and they grab the Thor.
Got through. Okay, now I see what's going on.
Yeah, Thor's been banned both games up till now, and it's very understandable why. He's very annoying to deal with. Damage loss, just the wall was extremely annoying. A global ultimate as well, it leads to a stun. It's a BMJ god.
It is very much a BMJ god, and I think with the changes to Thor as well, he got the Athena treatment, right? He's been made stronger than needed be. He was already in an okay spot. He was perfectly fine as he was. They made him stronger. Here's Ymir. And Ymir.
Finally,
it's the rhyming pair.
I love Ymir. I think it's honestly like, I mean, it is one of the best spots currently, but it's really good to Cernos as well. Like Darji in with Ymir is going to make it very difficult for Cernos to move around, and of course, to alleviate that, Ping Diff are picking up the gap.
What a good pick that is. That does so much against this WODL comp right now.
It also helps with Thor as well, because once he dives in deep, he can just shield him out, get him away.
Yeah, that is a really heads-up pick there from Mr. Nacho. Something that he's comfortable on as well. You know, we've seen him play this time and time again. Really, really smart play, and I think that could be almost game-changing just in of itself being picked there. I think that is a huge little pickup from Ping Diff. Into the bans, you see goodbye to Cupid, goodbye to Morgan, and goodbye once again to the Jingchen. I don't blame them. Very worthwhile on the bans. Interesting, no Hades picked up this game. Teams suddenly dropping the value in it.
I mean, to be fair, it really wasn't that impactful for both the games. It did definitely have its moments, don't get me wrong, but it had its weaknesses, and I don't think both teams really want to risk it, as WODL going for a safety pick with the tier, and then Ping Diff are also going with a very late game oriented Amaterasu. So, yeah, it looks like Hades is not returning this set. Yeah, agreed. I think he's had his time. Both teams have tried it. They've tried it unsuccessfully. Maybe that was due to builds. Maybe that was just because actually neither team is that comfortable with the Hades. They picked it because it was open rather than because they liked playing it. Giannis coming in. Spicy pick. Now this screams to me that Snowy is going to be ganking 24/7. This man is not going to be in. He's going to be power farming. He's going to get to level 20 and he's going to be everywhere. And I do not say everywhere lightly. I mean everywhere. I mean, it's a good response to Thor as well. Both gods have global pressure, so it allows one to keep up with the Thor, and it looks like they're hovering over a Heim, which honestly, I don't hate it. I think it's an okay pick. I don't know if I would have personally picked it, but it's a very understandable pick, and I think it does complement the comp they have so far.
Time to feast on
gods, which is a lot safer. I think that does make a bit more sense. They're always a bit lackluster, but the amount of safety she has, especially with Thor, and she can go under the Thor wall as well, so it gives her a lot of safety in this pick.
Yeah, but if I'm looking at this, I get the Charybdis, but I
would you prefer the Heim?
I wouldn't prefer the harm. I just don't think either of them honestly is the most value
Who will
pick here. I
rise
think
above the
having something like a
rest?
Ho Yi, which can just stall out in the air and avoid getting CC'd for a long period of time, is very valuable for this model team. You're going to be able to eat up a lot of abilities, whether that's a Discordia or a Thor or a Sonono. So you're just eating away at these timers. It means that suddenly they can find the value from them that they want to find. I think that would be much more impactful for them.
And this
I
pink
don't like the Charybdis. Yeah, the Discordia.
very good. I think it's
Yeah,
good here.
I like it into the Giannis. I like it into the tier. It's got that cripple. I think it's a good pick.
Good damage, good AoE coverage, safe CC emote for the Dart G. I mean, you can't really go wrong. Ping Diff, whilst they again still very aggressive picks, they are going for a bit more safety just so they don't risk this game 3, which is a very understandable situation.
Yeah, I mean, neither team wants to lose at this stage, right? You've come this far, you've done a good job. You don't want to suddenly throw it away in the final stages of the set, especially when you've started the set quite positively. Both teams have had positive games so far. They've had positives in both games, even where they've not necessarily won those games. So I think we're seeing a mixture of things that are safe, but also people pulling out comfort picks. I think that's why we're seeing the Giannis and the Discordia. I think those are more picks that people are comfortable on rather than picks that are necessarily going to hand out win this game. Speaking of the game, we are going to transition into it and we shall see how this one goes. Straight away, we're looking at the difference and disparity in the solo lane. The Warriors Axe on Fire Fist is going for that sort of more teamfighty play late game, like whether that's the Sundering or whether that is there just for the Heroes Axe late game actually to prevent the CC. Both are going to be good options. I'll be interested to see which one we go into.
Yeah, I think right now, as you say, this is definitely both teams want to play a bit safe. They want to play a bit more comfort picks, and I think this might be a slower early game. I don't think teams are going to want to risk it all on risky plays in the early game. I think this is definitely going to go into the late game because right now, both of these comps definitely thrive in a late game environment.
Yeah, the real question is which one thrives more. I think the Cerninos throughout the entire stage of the game just does more than a Charybdis. I'm
Yeah.
always going to be favouring that. I think the Geb, defensively and in team fights can find more pressure than Ymir, but Ymir is very good for solo fighting. Really nice route there from Spark Fairy, once again getting a lot of aggression onto Ace K. The thing I'm mainly looking at actually for the late game is the difference between this Giannis and the Thor. They're going to be the main sort of areas to focus in the late game, where the Giannis is going to be, very impactful with the rotations and the ultimates, chunking people from wherever that they are. And the same thing with the Thor. They're going to be able to dunk down, pull relics, deal a lot of damage. The Giannis can get more of the team in, but the Thor's just going to kill someone a lot quicker. So I think those are the two picks that we're really going to be centering this game on. Obviously, we know what the Cerninos can do, but if he gets half health by the Giannis ult through space of time before he has a chance to think, it doesn't matter.
It's also worth doing as well that one of the big difference between these ultimates. Oh, hold on, looks like First Blood might be given up.
Not quite. Just stopped by body blocks from minions there, but Amelia and Ace K really struggling in this lane to deal with a Cerninos Geb, which they should not be losing lane pressure to right now.
No, but as well, I was going to just finish this quickly with the global ultimates. It's also worth knowing is that Thor ultimate, whilst he doesn't give vision to his team, he can definitely see the map in his ultimate, whilst Giannis doesn't really know what's on the end of those portals. Both teams are going to be warning, so he's mostly going to know, but Thor also has that benefit of looking up in the air, telling his team
Ace
they're over
K's
here.
gone aggressive with the immunity there, and I do not think that was the play to make. He's only taking a lot of return
wall.
damage from Spark for a very good wall from Amelia to just cut off any further engagement there. Ace K just feeling himself a little bit too much there, not respecting that Spark still has a lot of potions ticking off, regenerating his health there. And those potions in the early game scale quite highly.
Yeah, I think so far the dual lane, I think Ace K needs to be very careful, especially in situations where he's going to use his only escape aggressively. Like his escape is one of the best escapes in the game. Don't get me wrong, but if you're using it aggressively, you really don't want to go into it aggressively and come out of your safety staring down a Cerninos, because he's going to do a lot more damage than Charybdis.
Yeah, I think maybe just not quite recognized by Ace K there for just thinking, Cernuno slow, I'm going to go in, and then suddenly it gets turned around massively and you're in, dangerous waters there. Quite literally, as the Charybdis.
Yeah, and plus as well, this Charybdis has a
Oh,
lot
no.
of setup. Oh,
The Charybdis has an Aegis.
Aegis. Oh,
This
interesting.
Charybdis can so easily get chain CC'd right now. If I'm Big Man Jesus, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking this is a free gank. You
I
get
mean,
the
you-
ult off, if you perfectly chain your CC as you should be doing with the Thor, if you've got your ADC there, even if you've got your support there, you're picking up a kill. And the Charybdis cannot get out in time. And we
I
can
mean,
already see he is pathing over there, only level 4 at the moment. Mirandus taking a lot of damage, does get the stun though onto Machiavelli and is going to live. Firefist was looking for a blink, but not going to go for it in the end.
I mean, even without the beads, he's still at risk of a Geb knockup, the cripple from Cernos, you see there, and God forbid the Cernos ults the Geb ult as well. There's just so much I have to worry about, and here it is. And he
Yeah,
managed to
Big
get
Man
away.
Jesus dunking down, the ultimate coming through, but not quite going to find the mark. Nice immunity from Ace Gaming. He's able to get out alongside the freeze from Amelia to prevent any further follow-up. The first ultimates of the game are now being expended, both so far on the side of Ping Diff.
Yeah, and so far Firefist has the wave pressure, and currently Snowy is invading their camps. He's making a lot of use of so he's definitely trying to pressure them up where he can. So far mid and solo are trying to do what they can with their pressure, but it's also worth noting that Amaterasu is going to come online eventually. So, and it looks like Firefist might be being punished for it, and he gets away. But so far this WODL dual lane is just being out pressured completely, and it looks like WODL going to about to answer back to this invade.
Yeah, this is exactly what I thought Snow would be doing with the Giannis. They do just about get the purple buff though, but who's going to fall first is the question. There is a first blood on the table here. Is it going to be Sparkfire? Does just about get himself out of the ultimate. Sparkfire does pick up the first blood, managing to find the kill onto Amelia before AceK gets a return kill, and then suddenly AceK also falls. Big Man Jesus coming out of nowhere with the hammer, and just like that, Ping Diff get first blood, and they get the extra kill. Not successful in the invade, but are successful on taking away the red buff and suddenly gaining a lot of pressure on the Cernunos once again.
Yeah, we've seen him get pressure on the Cernos once. God forbid he's going to get it twice, but I do want to point out Amelia did have a really managed to prolong the fight a little bit and then managed to secure that kill and spark. But yeah, unfortunately, Waddle 2 for 1, especially this early in the game, and dropping the first blood is definitely not worth it. And you say this Cernos is going to have so much pressure, it's going to force Charybdis into this. It's either you have to farm safely, and you just have to avoid him. Like, ASK best avoid Sparkfire with his life because he is definitely going to get punished if he gets too cocky.
Absolutely will do. I mean, the one thing that Waddle can look for right now is the fact that they've got Snowy who can just come through at any point if he finds through space and time, even if he doesn't find the damage. Being able to get over there is going to be very helpful for AceK, but we just see already how much punishment Sparkfire is putting out there. And AceK is just having no luck in responding to it whatsoever.
Yeah, honestly, I know Waddle did get the dodgy out of it, our game right now, but personally, I would not have let the Cernos through, especially seeing how absolutely monstrous Sparkfire can be on it.
Yeah, although Waddle are doing the right thing and trying to shut it down. They've already sent 2 people over here. It looks like there's going to be a third as well. Machiavelli coming through. Good polymorph, but the ultimate coming through from AceK. The beads is there through space and time as well. Amelia picks up that return kill onto Sparkfire. Same as last game, you kind of wish it went through onto the ADC, not the support, but they have got that kill. Nacho now is frozen out, taking some poke, but not going to fall. And that's exactly what Waddle need to do. They need to turn around onto this ADC, and with the rotational ability on their team, they absolutely can.
Yeah, they did. It was a bit costly, 1 kill for 3 ultimates, but obviously if it showed down the Cernos, it's probably more than worth in this situation, but they just need to be careful on how heavily they want to spend on these ganks, because God forbid there's going to be a situation where they need these ultimates to either escape, and unfortunately there's a Thor sailing them. But yeah, definitely worth for them to get the gank, shut down the Cernos, put AceK in a better position, because again, we don't want to see Sparkfire go 13-0 again, but hopefully as well, maybe try and get these ganks to this tier ahead as well, try and shut down the Amaterasu, try and delay her late game spike. But so far Waddle doing well. So far this other game is again like game 2 where it's trading punches.
Yeah, and speaking of trading punches, AceK's trading punches in a very disadvantageous spot here, being caught within the castle section of that duo lane. Amelia taking a nice bit of poke from Big Man Jesus as well, and Mr. Nacho already finding herself with a 2-level lead though. There's that early kill doing a lot for her, finding it onto Sparkfire, who's continuing his aggression with that immunity down as well. Look who's lurking, it's Big Man Jesus, although he has been spotted out by Snowy in the mid lane. And that's what this Giannis is there for, as I said, the rotational ability to prevent these ganks.
Here it comes.
It doesn't seem to have worked. Big Man Jesus in the air, finds the dunk, there's the wall, there's the hammer, there's the spin to win, and Big Man Jesus picks up another kill.
And
On
that's
to
why you need
HK.
beads.
That is why you need beads.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you had beads, you hopefully maybe got a 3 and got out of there, but unfortunately couldn't. But hopefully WODL returned the kill.
Oh, good
Oh.
shield, good beads as well. Machiavelli's continuing to chase it, goes onto the tower. Nice knock up from Mr. Nacho, stops any further engagement. Means
Yeah,
that It's
great
Me
kill.
Benny is going to be able to get out of there. And hello, Miranda's, where have you come from to kill Snowy? They're looking for a Gold Fury here.
Oh yeah, Miranda's came up for a go free, but he picks up Snowy on the way.
Yeah, and that's a big pick off. That through space and time can come from anywhere to secure. Now, when you're left with just Fire Fist, who's too far away, and Amelia there, you can easily CC away. That's a nice free Gold Fury for Ping Diff. Good Tectonic Rift from Big Man Jesus, meaning Amelia won't find any freeze into Fire Fist's abilities, and Ping Diff get out scot-free.
Yeah, this is looking a bit like a deja vu. Early game starts off, trading blows, goes equal, but so far Ping Diff starts getting objectives and it spirals from there. So far the Sun shuts down the Ace K as well. Looking a lot like game 2, but hopefully with this change of comp, WODL can hopefully bring it back, gain some pressure themselves, or play defense when they need to. Because right now they're still a very adaptable comp. They can play aggressive, they can play defense, but their comp definitely gears towards aggression where possible. So hopefully they can find these situations to do that. But so far, Ping Diff are taking it slow. They're taking what they can, and they're playing very safe doing it.
They are indeed. Now, important thing to note is that this game, while there is an early lead, we're looking at both the teams here, and again, similar to last game where we said it's going to be all on how this silencer in this game. It's the same this game. It's going to be a late game team. You look at this, we've got Tyr, who's going to be a real pain for Ping Diff to deal with, setting up with crowd control into Giannis' abilities. The Giannis, very difficult once he gets that cooldown to actually follow around. He's just going to run around and do his own thing. You're not really going to catch him too well, though. He is 2 levels down at the moment. Discordia, we know, scales into the mid game and late game, doesn't do too much early. The Thor is sort of the only real early game threat for either team beyond the Ymir in this one, and is using that so far, but still scales into the late game, and this is where it's all going to come into that late game.
Yeah, thankfully, even though this tier is 2 levels behind, it's still tier. He's still very safe, and it looks like WODL might be able to get a pick, and unfortunately not. He gets that teleport away with Thor.
Yeah, do you find the beads though, which they did not need to be popped? Nacho was there with a nice shield onto Big Man Jesus, would have been able to get out scot-free regardless. Instead uses those beads where really didn't need to, and actually that means that that's one cooldown that he hasn't got should a team fight pop up. For now though, happy
Taking
to
the small
just
wins.
walk away. Yeah, exactly. Small wins. Did get a couple of ultimates
Oh.
out, and now is once again going to dunk onto Ace K. Finds abilities, but comboed incorrectly. Sparkfire does find the kill before Ace K can get under the depths, but note
He's
that
just-
Big Man Jesus is using the wall instead of the hammer, and that's why they didn't get the clean kill there.
I mean,
For playing
still,
Thor, they've got the kill, but it's
Yeah.
these little details that could make the difference. Machiavelli, there's no way he lives there.
I mean,
No
the big
way
difference.
he's gonna live, surely. Nah, there comes the ultimate.
sure.
Does use the beads as well. Wasted cooldown there for Machiavelli. Really shouldn't have bothered.
I mean, one thing that you say, what one of those little things that would have changed that gank is Ace should have got beads.
Yes, Ace K should definitely have got beads, but as a Thor player, you want to land, use the basic attack, hammer, then wall. You do not want to be using the wall before you've even thrown out a basic attack. You don't get the efficiency of the time of the ultimate. Ult, hammer, basic, wall, spin. You kill someone, and that's all you need to do. Speaking of walls, that is a lovely
Great
wall.
wall.
The Giannis ult did come through and hit the Pyromancer, and actually has done enough to force Ping Diff to disengage from this Snowy, now making the rotation in. But Mirandas is there, finds no stuns. Firefist uses the ultimate from Tyr. Lawbringer comes through but doesn't find any kills. Amelia instead just taking loads of poke, and Ping Diff actually somehow evened this out. Firefist is blinking in, but Big Man Jesus, nice use of the Thor ultimate. Get into the air. The cripple onto Firefist. Big Man Jesus massively missing the ultimate. Nacho ulting thin air. There is a clear mistake there, and it means that Machiavelli picks up a kill on WODL. Similar to what happened in first game, they've done a fight around the Pyromancer, and they've turned it, and now they're going to get the Pyromancer. Is this an omen? maybe Spark had this sort of engagement, does use the beads a little bit late on AceK, he's already lost the distance and the ground that he wanted, meaning he's not going to be able to pick up this kill. What'll get
Ace-
Pyromancer? They're closing it up a bit.
AceK is playing very brave. Honestly, if I would have been Thor dunked twice already and I'm facing against a Cernanos with pressure, I definitely wouldn't be fighting with my escape. But honestly, I respect it. But he needs to be
Thor was
quite
dead,
careful
right?
because.
Oh.
Pardon?
Thor was dead, right? Like, he's seen that
Uh,
Thor's died, he doesn't care.
Yeah, I know, but still, though, I'm terrified of Cernanos damage. I'm surprised AceK isn't, but I do respect him. He's trying to play brave. He's trying to get some form of farm. He doesn't want to give Spark too much like leeway, and it looks like Amelia is rotating to try and set up for the Gold Fury and hopefully get a pick on Spark, make it a bit easier for them.
Yeah, it does indeed seem that way, and AceK just
Spark
getting that little bit of
out.
farm. Gold Fury spawning soon, and that's got to be the priority for both teams here.
Mhm.
Big Man Jesus putting out a little bit of poke onto Amelia, who's finding that quite consistently she's losing 10 to 20% of her health to the Tectonic Rift plus the one coming through from 4.
Yeah, and with it
Nacho
being
getting a
primal,
little bit of poke too, and there's the oracles for Ping Diff.
yeah, and with it being Primal Fury as well, it's going to be quite important for the late game once they try and burn more objectives, such as the Fire Giant or an Oni Fury when that rotates over. So, and plus, gold in your pocket is always gold, so always worth to go for. And it looks like Pingnif are about to burn it down.
Yeah, it does indeed seem that way, and we are seeing Ping Diff pulling this. Amelia's somewhat in range, but haven't used the ultimate early. They've almost pulled the Gold Fury into Amelia's ultimate there. Spark Fair choosing to get off of Gold Fury. Big Man Jesus dunking down from the sky. They are going to grab it. AceK around the corner, out of position. Does find 2 to get stunned with his ultimate. Doesn't take the portal, is instead using the immunity to run away under the depths. Mirandus is continuing the chase, but Amelia and Snowy are enough to put that off. Fire Fist there as well. Ping Diff did, importantly though, get the Gold Fury in that engagement, and if there's no kills going down, they're still going to take that as a win.
Oh yeah, definitely. Gold Fury always worth to get, so they're walking away with the win there, and they're walking away with a bit of a gold lead currently, and now they get Snowy's beads, which especially on Yanis is definitely vital for him. So next team fight he's going to have to play a lot more careful, especially now that Gold Fury is down to his Pyromancer. Next logical option is the Fire Giant.
Yeah, he either needs to just stay back and ult in, or perfectly time the portal to just drop onto the floor and take the Thor with him. That's the way that he's going to be able to survive the next engagement. Otherwise, he is a free target now. He's a sitting duck completely. So, granted that a Ymir freeze will be a perfect amount of peel for him, but if you're that close, chances are the Ymir's also got stunned by the Thor ultimate. It's a risky business.
Yeah, it's also worth knowing as well, whilst WODL are down like 4k gold, it is worth knowing that XP wise, they are not heavily down. They're looking about 1 gold difference between them, so they're still in the fight. There's no huge differences in XP, which is good for WODL, and it's just more of items they need to fear. But even then, they're more or less equal when it comes to build, so they can still take fights where they need to. And also, BMJ's in the sky.
BMJ is in the sky, dunks down, and as I said, Snowy needing to use that through space and time perfectly in order to survive. He's actually continuing the aggression to try and pick off Big Man Jesus. Isn't going to find it. He's used one of the portals to get out. Has plenty more available to stay alive now.
Yeah, so far, WODL are answering to what Ping Diff in very sensible ways so far. They haven't really tried sacrificing themselves to secure the objectives or try and steal them, and so far they're using their relics really well. It's just they just need to be very careful because, as we've seen in Game 2, if Ping Diff are given too much of a lead, they are definitely going to run away with it.
Yeah, I think WODL are being smart with just being able to keep themselves alive in that. Now they're making sure that should the objective go away from them, okay, then the objective goes. We're not going to die and give them an extra one. We're not going to say give them a tower. We're not going to give them, say, like a fire giant or a pyromancer off the bat where we don't need to. And that's been really important to just be able to keep them in this game and keep them somewhat steady. Granted, they are a little bit behind, but it's not catastrophic right now. It's definitely still in a stage where they can come back, take some fights, and win this game.
Definitely. Like, so far they're playing it well. It's just, so far I'm just really scared because once it gets to late game, I do think Ping Comp does scale better. So it's just more of a case of getting to late game around the same time as Ping Diff, getting upscaled, and hopefully getting these big plays where they need it. Because if it goes the way it's going currently, Ping Diff are looking very cozy right now.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
very cozy indeed with Sparkfire picking up another kill on the Waste K. Big Man Jesus now just using the Thor wall on Snowy, does get the Aegis off. The freeze doesn't quite hit the mark. Hammer comes through, big damage from It's Me, Benny, and Snowy also going to fall here. Sparkfire now has a fairly free push onto this tier 2 tower over in the duo lane. The Trebuchet's up in mid. Waddle though, they're just picking up a cheeky Pyromancer while this is all going on. They don't really care. Amelia taking a lot of damage, but good double stun, meaning she's going to be able to walk out of there. Is trying to step up a little bit to defend the tier 1 tower here. Is it worth your life at this stage? Absolutely not. Firefist is lurking on the side, but he's going to need to hit the Geb to find anything impactful. And actually, Mr. Nacho using the ultimate means that Firefist is sort of locked out of his combo. Here comes Miranda's with the ultimate Firefist, having to use the beads. But brilliant double taunt from It's Me, Benny, but then misses the follow-up use of the one, meaning that Amelia is going to walk out. Nice wall by Big Man Jesus. Firefist now finding himself in some danger, but not enough lockdown there. Ping Diff, they get a kill through Sparkfire, taking out Machiavelli. They get the tier 2 tower, they get the tier 1 in mid. That's a big win for them. Firefist continuing to step up a massive amount of healing. Snowy's back as well here. Is he going to go for the snipe? That's what I wonder.
This Trebuchet's using mid right now. It makes it extremely difficult for both Amelia and Firefist to defend this because right now they can't walk up to destroy it themselves. And with Spark Fury not only getting the tower but managing to kill Machiavelli, it's just Ping Diff are taking down these structures. And if they get this mid tower, there's only towers in the right. And if you look at the right, that first tower is going to go down quite quickly.
It is indeed, and the damage is just continuing to come through here. Ping Diff really winning this poke war. Miranda's has the ultimate back up again. Is coming and gets a stun onto Amelia. Tier 2 mid tower goes. Mr. Nacho gets portaled out of the freeze. Gets a big knock up onto Waste K, then falls to the ultimate from Big Man Jesus. Amelia now turns herself into a sitting target with the ultimate. Snowy portals in, portals back out again. Does find spark damage on Sparkfire alongside Machiavelli with through space and time, but Machiavelli now having to run away. He's going straight towards what Ping Diff are looking for, which is the Gold Fury. They've won this fight quite heavily so far. Machiavelli using 1,000 cuts to just be able to get out of there. And that means now that Ping Diff have a free Gold Fury, which Waddle cannot contest. And suddenly the game looks like it's gradually sneaking away from them once again. Machiavelli uses the beads in this 1v1. Big Man Jesus is winning it. Machiavelli actually does get the pick off. Gold Fury is in a stage where it has gone down. Nacho with the blinking does get the ultimate and the knock up onto Machiavelli. It's a 1-for-1 trade there. Big Man Jesus, unfortunate to fall, does get the relic out though. Ping Diff take the Gold Fury. They get the kills. They've got plenty of towers. They're in a very positive spot right now.
Yeah, having two Phoenixes exposed, only Fury minions barreling down the lane, and now Fire Giant being the only jets on the map gives them a very cozy position where they're going to go over to right tower, take it down, because, I mean, look at the top, it's not going to be very hard. They can then ward up, then just sit around the FG, try and take it themselves, and if Water come and contest, go in, try and kill them, and then if they get this FG, they can take the second tower, and then hopefully open a Phoenix for them. Because right now, Waddle in a very difficult position to defend because they can't walk up now and group up OFG because they really cannot ignore these Oni minions.
Yeah, they just don't really seem to know how to respond to the aggression from Ping Diff right now. There's just so many different aggressors, whether it's Nacho's blink, Miranda's blinking in and ulting, Big Man Jesus coming down from the sky, Sparkfear's ultimate, the roots and the taunts coming through from It's Me Benny. There's so many different ways that Ping Diff can engage, and Waddle just haven't found an answer to any of those specifically right now. They're not finding many engagements themselves, and that led to the stage where Ping Diff have a huge gold advantage. They're clearly winning the fights, and they're pulling this Fire Giant at 22 minutes, and it's completely uncontested.
Yeah, that's huge for them, honestly, and they're probably going to take this next tower. They might even get this tier pick now, because I don't think there's very much safe anywhere it can go that's safe.
No, there isn't. Even with CC immunity through the passive and the beads, Firefist is falling lower and lower out of position. Apple of Discord did miss from It's Me Benny in the mid lane, but Firefist is just on a ticking time bomb to death here and finally does fall. And this is Ping Diff's time now. Big Man Jesus into the air, finds the dunk onto Machiavelli, who drops immediately. It's another pick off for Ping Diff. That means that Waddle are down to 3 on the defense here. This is 2 even.
SK is in left.
SK is in left. Miranda's has back for it, but that still means that they have a 2-man advantage here. And I don't think that anybody is going to be favouring Waddle for this engagement now. Especially not that Snowy's used the ultimate. Did find some good damage onto Spark and Nacho. But Miranda's
Just wasn't enough.
and Benny are there to just keep tanking, and down goes Phoenix. Down goes Amelia's health bar as well, quite rapidly. Ping Diff get the Phoenix. They're able to just reset. They didn't really lose too much there. And Miranda's is continuing to chase Ace K. Snowy being forced to use both of his relics. And Ace K
Unfortunate.
falls. Goodbye. Amaterasu has such good chase potential.
This is
Goodbye,
looking like
Snowy.
game.
Fire Fist is back. This could indeed be game. There doesn't seem to be much left that WODL have to defend with now. Fire Fist having to use the Lawbringer to get out of there. Machiavelli is in the backline on its Me Benny. Pops the Aegis to avoid the 1,000 cuts. There is still some big damage coming through, but Me Benny hiding in the Shroud isn't going to avoid the CC completely. The ultimate from Machiavelli does hit the target. It has to come down, come straight back down into Spark Fear's damage. Now that leaves just Amelia and Fire Fist to defend. The wall comes out from both the characters with walls.
Amazing
Amelia gets
job.
knocked back by Nacho. Is taking damage. Good use of the Fearless by Fire Fist to disengage that and potentially keep his support alive. Does indeed do so, but it's not going to matter. The two of them are going to struggle to defend this. Ping Diff are taking this Titan lower and lower and lower. It's down to half health, 40%. They're doing a valiant job, the two tanks so far, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Fire Fist falls. Amelia's dropping lower and lower. The Titan drops lower, and Ping Diff turn the set around, taking game 3 from WODL. And taking the set, they will go on to round 3 to face either VTubers Paradise or King Kai's. For WODL, it's Protectors of Yggdrasil in the losers bracket.
Yeah, unfortunately, WODL have played well. I mean, both teams played pretty well, but this set, and unfortunately, WODL will be the ones to go into the loser brackets. But I don't think this is going to be the last to see with WODL. I think WODL are definitely going to have a good run in losers bracket. So I definitely think it's worth noting to keep an eye on them once they're in there. And Ping Diff definitely is going to be an interesting matchup next time they're up.
It really is. I just think they got the one kill early, WODL. They found, their rotation onto Spark, and they thought, okay, well, we'll be fine now. And then ASK was just a sitting target, without the beads. He was vulnerable to the Thor ganks all the time. You can't keep rotating over there. You're going to give up too much pressure around the rest of the map. And with that, that's why Ping Diff have been able to win it, and WODL weren't really able to find that much that game was because they couldn't afford to give things away.
Nah, like Ping Diff managed to do what they did last game. They managed to get enough map pressure. They managed to run away with their lead. Unfortunately, WODL again came up with an answer to defend from it. And honestly, well played by both teams. I think it was a very fun set to watch, and it was a very fun set to cast. And who would you give MVP to? Game 3.
Game 3, I'm finally going to give it to a certain. Spark went
Finally.
huge with the damage once again. Kill participation out of the wall. I think he was only not participating in 2 of the kills that came through there. Absolutely massive performance from him. Well warranted, and I think overall you probably give the set MVP to him as well. He was just so impactful in those 2 wins that, and even when they lost, he still did his bit. I think Spark MVP for Ping Diff. For WODL, I think overall Amelia had a very consistent set. Snowy did keep them in it. He brought them back into game 1. He did a lot in game 2 as well. But I think Amelia, we have to give the credit where it's due. Had the target ban against her and just had a really, really solid performance. I think for WODL was the standout player for the consistency across the sets.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, and they're in a good position. There's no reason they can't come through this losers bracket. They've shown today that they are very, very capable.
I mean, you never know.
We will see a lot more of them.
You never know. The finals could be another WODL versus Ping Diff match. WODL could seek revenge. You never know.
It could indeed, and if there's any sort of anger and desire to do so, now's going to be the perfect time to do it. In the finals of this season of the Glorious Smite League. But speaking of finals, that is going to be the finale for tonight as we take a quick look at the bracket to see where these 2 teams are going to be ending up with. Round 3 for Ping Diff. I think both the teams that they can come up against, they can win. VTubers will give them a very good game, as will King Kai's. I think Ping Diff probably just about edge both of those, although VTubers will be very close if Lockie's on a top performance. WODL, Protectors of Yggdrasil, the weakest Harpy division team. I think that definitely goes to WODL without a doubt. No offense to Protectors. They've not had the strongest of seasons. I think they've taken a couple of individual games off teams, but nothing majorly done. And with that, that is the end of the set. We can do a quick couple of player interviews from the winning team. We can bring a couple of members in from Ping Diff and hear what they have to say about that set.
Hello.
There's number one, Mr. Nacho. We've also got It's Me, Benny, and Big Man Jesus, and Mirandus, and Sparkfree. We've got the whole of Ping Diff in here. Welcome, welcome. Good evening. Congratulations on the win. Well done. How are you feeling, especially after the first game went against your favour?
Easy W, really. What can
I
I
was
say?
shaking in my boots, I cannot lie. I got diffed by SK quite hard.
Your shivers were timbered.
Was not fun. Was not fun.
Yeah,
So
so
basically, we just all hopped in Spark's backpack and it was game on.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a bit
I think both teams, the Hades was a bit questionable, but the Jingchen game, so I must say, Mirandus, you found out some miraculous plays on that, mixing in with the damage coming out from Spark. Credit where it's due. What brought about the Jingchen pick? It seems to be somewhat out of nowhere, and then it got target banned in the third game. What was sort of thinking behind that against the Hades?
It wasn't really against the Hades, it's just against Vulcan, who doesn't have CC immunity, so every other fight where he doesn't have Vs, you just kill him.
Yeah, it was like the thought process was we're not gonna win solo lane anyway, like in lane, so we might as well get like big CC for the Vulcan.
And yet you still picked Cernanos into a Darji who could apply that same logic into the third game. Now, granted, the Cernanos was having a brilliant set from whoever was playing it, definitely found the value, but still brave.
Sometimes you just gotta ego pick it, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
I think the
Respect.
Geb helps mitigate that as well.
Oh
yeah, the
for
Geb
sure.
pick, we said that on the casting, that Geb pick went absolutely massive as soon as that got locked in. It countered so much, and with the way you piloted it as well, naturally, you did find a huge amount of value with that. The shields were very consistent and very good.
Yeah,
I
game
think
3
also,
was.
yeah,
Oops.
sorry, go ahead.
That game 3 was definitely your best showing, and I can imagine BMJ you were looking at Blitz when you realized AK had no beads.
Oh, absolutely.
But another thing for that certain
Frustrated.
pick, we just didn't really want to give it SK again, I think. Like, that's just a really high value pick, and we'd rather have it on our side than give it them. Sorry, BMJ, I interrupted you.
Yeah, so good.
So, final question from me. Obviously, with the changes in the rosters, Benny, you come into the mid lane here and you're having to integrate within the team very quickly and find your position. How's it been in terms of doing that? Have you found it quick and easy to do, or has there been a few teething problems?
No, not really. I think this team specifically is just really chill, really easy to get into. Friendly dudes, adapt very well, and yeah, make me feel like a just like a roster member for like 3 years already. Just like super chill. Adapt to like certain play styles. Like I like to play aggressive hunters, and we just adapt. It didn't work out in the first game, and we just switched around and just played around mages and played around duo more. So it's just like really an easy transition.
I also have one last question before we wrap up. Is
Sure.
how are you feeling about next game? Whether it be King Kai's or VTubers, you guys feeling confident going into that?
Yeah, I mean,
I
we've
do.
toured VTubers twice now.
Yeah. I mean, we
Thinking
just
guy-
have to not play like the last VTuber said, and we should be golden.
Yeah, I think we can if we focus up.
Just keep
Try
giving
not-
me fat man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pick our comfortable picks, and not try to follow or like have the opponents dictate our game pace too much. And I think if we play to our own strengths, I think we just take it home easily, get to the finals. GG.
Mhm. Well, good luck to you guys. I'm looking forward to the Ping Diff run. So, hope you guys have a good night, and well done on your win.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah,
Cheers,
well,
no problem.
specifically to BMJ and Sparkfear, not forgetting those spaced out days. Big love.
Never,
Yeah, big
never.
love.
I was gonna
Big
shout
love.
out you two as well, bro.
Space
Shout out
out
to
below.
Mitch and Ginger.
Spaced
boys
out
that
never
are.
died. Spaced out never died.
Exactly.
Spaced out
we're
never
still here in
died.
our hearts, we're still here.
Okay. Right. With that, then, that is going to be the end of the stream for tonight. Thank you very much to everyone who has joined us for this finals game in round 2 of the Glorious Smite League Lower Division Final Tournament of Season 2. We will be back with you whenever we can for the next games. We shall see who will be joining Hakai and Pingdiff into round 3 of the winners group stage, and who will be advancing into the second round of the losers bracket within this tournament. Stay tuned. Make sure you join us for those games. For tonight, I've been Ginger Archer alongside Varblood Mitch, printers on the production, doing a fantastic job as always. We wish you a very enjoyable week, and we shall see you for the next one. Good night.